Been blessed from day one. Are you listening to me?
I'm hearing you. I'm trying to do two things at one time.
No, don't do that.
Yeah,
Give me
well,
your total focus.
Two things, that's important.
That's correct. I was saying I've been blessed from day one, and it has nothing to do with me.
It
because
is.
I am not the one who chose my parents.
Amen.
And I think the good Lord chose the two best people he could have done at the time for me.
Yes.
And up to now, I thank him, although my mother has been dead 25 years, my father maybe 30 years. Okay?
Yes, sir.
But I still praise God for all the love I got and all the things they taught me to do, to be courteous, to say good morning, good afternoon, be nice, especially to seniors.
Yeah.
And I maintain that if I can pass anything to any young people, including my own children, that is what I need to do and have tried to do.
All right.
Be nice, be nice.
You must be nice and show love. Show
the
love
politics can be hard and it can
Yeah.
make you look rough, but you know, at the core of you,
Yeah.
you have to be a nice person.
Definitely.
And I'm saying all that to say, I've been listening this morning to our good friend Norbert.
Yeah.
I listened to you before coming here, and I'm hearing the vindictive things that is coming out from your voices, from people who call.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to appeal to guys, this is politics, guys.
Oh, yeah.
And life is bigger than politics.
Every day.
So after 34 years, relax, man. I'm not asking you to go and hug the governor general if you don't like him.
And we will
You
come
know?
to that, seriously, because this would be part of our top one of
Yeah,
our
but
hot
set
topics
an
today.
example of love, man.
Yeah.
You know, behave yourself.
That's
you know?
right. Mr. Mike, we want to go. You don't have your mic. You need your mic.
No, but, okay.
You don't need the headphone, but
Okay,
you
all right, okay,
yeah.
okay, sorry.
I want to start somewhere.
Sure.
And I want to engage you and Mr. Peter Josie in that conversation because you may know a little more about this in terms of the media, the authority, and everything else with that in that regard. We heard yesterday, I saw outside of Parliament, a member of Parliament for Cashew South, Mr. Healy, making a statement where it had to do with the Prime Minister showing up here on Sky FM last week. And what he was saying, I have the clip here, but I think we should just talk about it as opposed to, you've heard it. Where he was saying that the Prime Minister should not be on Sky FM to disseminate information, government information, to the people of St. Lucia. Now, I'm going to ask you, doesn't the government have a leeway or an authority to be at any, or the Prime Minister, not the government, to be on any particular radio station as he please to disseminate information to the people?
But certainly, Champagne, you know something? I heard it being discussed. I think that is an issue as a non-starter. I wouldn't even waste my time on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mr. Haley, at this point, when he has nothing to say, to be able to get attention, he throws out those things. He knows very well that's nonsense. That's so stupid and imbecilic.
Imbecilic.
I
don't know what this morning.
Yeah.
Is there such a word? Imbecilic?
Yeah. You know,
Okay, wow.
Imbecilic. Yeah, that's
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
I heard the news, it came in here and
Yeah,
it flew out there.
yeah.
That's a nonsense.
It is really a nonsense.
And I don't even think we should waste
Not too much
half a
time on
second
it.
that.
Not too much time.
There are so many more important
More,
things to
I
discuss.
agree with
I
you.
want to add something very
Yeah.
quickly to that.
Yeah.
Yesterday I suggested on Norbert's show that Healy should apologize to the people of St. Lucia for the match they held, which spiked the coronavirus attack.
And you're right on that.
And somebody called and said, well, I didn't say that he should apologize for the stupid statement he made in Dominica. My rebuttal is that, yes, he should also apologize for that, but in the heat of the political campaign, as he was on a public platform, having met with his friends, you don't know how many drinks he had in his head, a politician is liable to say any foolishness when he has a mic in his hand, an audience in front of him.
Yeah, and you know all about that, Peter.
Exactly.
Because you've been there.
I've been there, done that. You know, I've spoken my share of foolishness. But guess what? I am man enough to say and admit it.
Yeah.
Okay? The other thing I want to say is on the thing that we just spoke about, you asked Sir Michael, this is not only true about the government. Any parliamentarian, I would imagine, who is worth his salt, and I would say the leader of the opposition, the deputy leader of the party, etc., if they call you, Champagne, or call Norbert, or call one of your Creole Patois people at 93.1 FM and say, listen, I have something I would like to say to the public of St. Lucia. I would like to use your radio station to do it. I'm sure you'll ask them, how long will it take? When would you like to come in? So they are free to do that.
You are so right.
And so Mike is also correct. I don't think we should waste our time on what Hila says. Hila is just throwing sprats.
Yeah, but in all fairness to the Prime Minister, I got a call just as I was about to leave my program sometime last week. And I got a call stating that the Prime Minister is coming off a meeting. They didn't specify whether it was a NIMAC meeting. And he wants to come on the program. I said, well, great. So the Prime Minister came and his people came with some KFC. And I was so happy to have lunch with the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister never went on to speak anything of that NIMAC meeting. I was the one.
Some people can kill you for that. When I heard you say that, I said, Champagne shouldn't say he had lunch with the Prime Minister.
Well, I did.
There are people who would...
They're trying to get themselves jealous.
Champagne, there are
but
people
the Prime Minister went to buy his bread at the motorbike.
With his suit. With his suit and they criticize it. It's really, really crazy. Yeah. But I wanted to clarify something because the Prime Minister it was never his intention to say anything about the NIMAC meeting that he just came off. I was the one. I said, so, well, I'm understanding that you're coming off a NIMAC meeting. I got the information from Norbert. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the general public? And then he went, he did not even spend 2 minutes on that. He did not even spend, we were talking about the developments and what the government has done with the coronavirus and all.
Champagne,
but like you said, this is
you don't have to spend time. You know what you have to say to them?
Yeah.
The last government under Dr. Anthony was one of the most secretive governments we ever had in St. Lucia.
By far.
And in a democracy, it is better to educate the people, let them know what is happening, than to be secretive, always hiding things.
We must ring the bell.
So tell the Prime Minister to speak every day.
Every time.
Every time. Yeah. And you know something? That's why I come here, to speak my mind.
That's right.
Every Wednesday.
Amen.
Yeah, Champagne, you're
going to go into your hammer?
Yeah, I'm going to take a different format today. I will not have a real preamble today. I have a very small preamble to make later on all the developments I saw over the weekend, which I will highlight. I think my technician has everything professionally done, so we'll tell him when we're ready.
Okay.
However, there are a couple of things I want to discuss here first, which is very, very important. It bothers me tremendously, Champagne, when I hear people talking about people who don't know better about blood clots with the vaccine, okay?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. 268 million people have been vaccinated. And statistically, yesterday, I picked up that 11 million people in the States who received the Pfizer vaccine, 9 people either had some problems with the clot or passed away. 9.
Okay.
Out of 11 million.
11 million, yeah.
In the case of the AstraZeneca, 10 million took, and 9 people either passed away or got the blood clots.
And that is with the AstraZeneca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you take the two, it's been quite similar.
Yeah.
What many scientists and professionals are saying is that these people had pre-existing conditions. That is number one. Secondly, having got that information, I took the opportunity to call a physician who knows better than me to explain to me what the situation is.
Yeah.
And he said, Mr. Chastanet, look, when you get the virus, you hear that COVID kills you. But what is it in COVID that kills you? Ultimately, it's blood clots in the lungs that finally kill you.
Oh, wow.
The COVID actually creates blood clots.
This is not something that has been created by the vaccine. It's something that you already had. Due to the virus.
If you have COVID, what actually kills you at the end of the day? The cause is blood clots in the lungs.
Right.
Okay? Now, another scenario which has arisen between both the Pfizer and the AstraZeneca is the fact that it is going to be determined shortly whether those individuals that passed away actually had the COVID. And the blood clots they had didn't really come from the,
as a result of the
vaccine.
The vaccine.
It was there. That's why they say pre-existing conditions. Okay? Another way we have to look at it, if a person who has taken the vaccine is unwell, okay,
Yeah.
to begin with. Diabetes, hypertension, and the list goes on, okay? They are at risk. They are at risk already. So when you tell me that out of 11 million people who've been vaccinated in
Yes.
America,
Yeah.
9 have died,
Yeah.
and
plus
in England,
another
10 million.
Yeah. So you're talking 21 million in total,
You know,
as opposed to
correct.
22 people
Right.
that have passed away.
Now, prior to entering your station this morning,
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to an individual making a contribution to Andre Paul,
Yeah.
and he was stating that all governments of the world are fooling people by taking the vaccine. You know, you have to ask, when will the ignorance stop?
Yeah, it is ignorance.
The gentleman also questioned, who is Dr. Fauci to give advice?
He knows Dr. Fauci?
Yeah,
My goodness.
Yeah, he says, we keep
Oh,
talking
my
about
goodness.
who is Dr. Fauci. He said he doesn't recognize Dr. Fauci. And that's another level of ignorance. Now,
My
when you
goodness.
tell me, Champagne, that in the world you have scientists, were it not for the scientists
we'd be in
today,
more trouble.
where would we have been?
We'd be in more trouble.
Where would we have been if you didn't have all those scientists in Russia, in China,
Yeah.
in the United Kingdom, in the States, in Germany, everywhere, focusing on getting
But so, Michael, there's a reality that all of us need to face.
Sure.
COVID-19, cancer, whatever. Vaccinated, you will still die. There's a
Correct.
reason why people die.
Correct.
Now, even if you were a patient based on COVID-19 and you've been vaccinated, you may have another cause of death.
Precisely.
The vaccine is not something that prevents people from dying. It may prevent you from dying from the COVID-19.
Champagne,
But
are
you
so
may
right.
have some
You are
other
so right.
issues.
You know
that
what?
You could
Why?
still die.
Most of the deaths, they tell you COVID-19, they're not sure. You know what they tell you? COVID-related.
COVID-related, exactly.
Yeah. So they're covering themselves.
right.
Nobody's saying,
That's
okay,
right.
because COVID is around, you had it, and so. And you know, it is really hurtful to see that kind of thing because, you know, and I talk to intelligent people too, educated
Yeah,
people.
people who know better.
And reiterating what this gentleman also said this morning, here's what he said again. He said, so what's the big deal? We're being vaccinated and you tell us still to wear masks. Yeah. And why to social distance? Because there's a time lapse
That's right.
that has to take place in the next 6 to 8 months. You have to do those things here in a level of precaution.
This is really ignorant statement. sir.
You know something?
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine over the weekend, and the individual said to me that she's not going to take any vaccine, and nobody's going to stop her from going on the aircraft. Nobody's going to stop her from going back to her home. But I said to the lady, look, nobody's going to stop you from going back to your home. But British Airways
Yep,
can
they-
tell you you're not coming on my plane
They just
if you're not
introduced
vaccinated.
something, yeah.
And I just got a WhatsApp here, and no point reading it because it's very easy. A gentleman was boarding the plane in the UK yesterday, and he was stopped because he didn't have his vaccination.
Didn't have his certificate.
Now, you know, tell me something. Airlines have lost billions of dollars, and they're looking for customers. Is anybody going to turn away their business at this point in time if there's not a reason for it?
Yeah.
What they don't understand, as you just rightly said, so there's no 100% guarantee in life in anything we do.
No.
In anything.
No.
However, it's a start. Statistically, look at what's happening in America. You had people, the morgues were overburdened in Texas, in New York, in California. They didn't know where to put dead people. Since the vaccine,
Yeah.
gone.
So there's a reason.
So what does it say?
Yeah, it
I
says
mean,
that the
you know,
vaccine is working.
You know,
Yeah.
so Michael,
Yes, we do.
I really admire you, you know,
Yeah.
you and Champagne.
Yeah.
I couldn't do what you all are doing there, you know.
Why is that?
I couldn't do it.
But you
So
know,
much has
without
been
cutting you
said.
short, Pete, that's why you are here today.
Yes.
Because you are respected as a person, an educated person. Now, you may not be able to educate the whole of St. Lucia, but if you educate 5 people,
Yeah,
that's
that's good.
5 less in the
That-
bar.
Well,
That's right.
let me tell you how I see it. Huh?
Sure.
I believe that so much has been said about that coronavirus in the last year. As the first point, I believe most people, whether they understand English or not, would have some idea that this virus is very dangerous,
Yes.
extremely dangerous. I have one thing that is at the back of my mind. I will not call the name, but I will say it. One of the first people in St. Lucia who died from that related virus, okay, related virus incident, is a lawyer that a lot of us knew. I knew him personally. I've been on a political platform with that guy. Very nice person, very humble kind of individual, a lawyer. But he had pre-existing conditions, and he contracted the virus and he died.
Yeah.
Every politician in St. Lucia, including the young ones who are coming up for the first time, must have heard about this person, must have heard about his name, must have known that he died of related causes. You understand? So if you don't love yourself, eventually, as you say, Champagne, all of us are going to die. So you can say you're not going to take it. And so, Michael, the point I want to make, and when I say I don't have the patience, I'm sorry, I pray to God every day for patience. But sometimes when I feel that people are deliberately pretending that they don't understand, I have a problem explaining to somebody who has made up his or her mind that they don't want to understand.
Yeah.
That is my only problem.
And this is one of our problems in St. Lucia, respect for authority, people who know better. How would the gentleman that called the program, you said, know anything about Dr. Fauci?
Yeah, let me say something to you.
You know?
I don't know Dr. Fauci.
We only see him
but
on
the world
TV.
recognizes him as an individual that knows what he's talking about.
That's right.
Another point which he made, which is very important, is that, and he's giving the facts, Champagne. He said, and warning Americans, because as you know, the governor of Texas, because he's a Republican and they want to get even with Biden, they opened up everything, okay? And a couple other states did the same thing. Florida.
Yeah.
These are all Republicans with large numbers. What Dr. Fauci is saying, how many times and how much evidence I'm going to give you first. He said, let us take Italy as an example. When Italy reduced the virus by 40%, that means it was at a plateau of 60%. When they saw the plateau there, they decided to open up everything, which was wrong.
Okay.
Today, Italy is back in a great lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And what Dr. Fauci is saying, basically, when you reach 60%, make the sign of the cross that you are going in the right direction. Get yourself vaccinated.
Yeah, don't take anything for
You want to
granted.
practice social distancing for the last year. It hasn't killed you, okay? Even though you don't do it as much, but continue to practice the social distancing and wear the mask. It is a known fact. He, as a scientist here, he wears either 2 or 3 masks. Because he said at his age, he doesn't want to contract. And he would know better.
And that's a scientist, huh?
That's
That's someone that knows
The man
better.
is telling you something here. And had Trump listened to Dr. Fauci, America would not have been in the parlous condition it is in today. However, but I think, I hear what Peter said, that we have but I think whatever we do on this show, there are many people that listen to this show for a particular reason. We're not here to talk nonsense.
No.
We're not here
agree.
for mapui. There are people who listen. And I'm saying I'll tell you how I think it works. If 5 people are listening to what we say today, that 5 will spread the word.
I believe that.
The people who understand. And all we're trying to do, what we're doing here, we're trying to educate people for their own good. Because the CMO can say as much as he wants. The gentleman who called this morning, he said he has no regard to the CMO.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm trying to say? You get it from a different mouthpiece, okay?
It's true.
But as Peter says, there are certain people, no matter what you tell them, but sometimes in life, there's an old saying, constant water wears away stone.
Constant water. It's true. Keep moving.
So if you keep saying it
true.
and saying it, whether 1 person or 2 persons more will listen, that's the direction.
Let me
And
just
there
say
was a
something.
meeting
Let me
yesterday.
say something quickly
Sure.
before we start. You just mentioned the southern states of Texas and Florida. And I was saying something to somebody yesterday. I'm not surprised, Champagne. And the former President, Trump, did not make these statements against the vaccine and refused to recognize the vaccine. He didn't make them foolishly, He calculated it because he had information and he refused to accept. And when they realized that this vaccine, this virus was killing minorities, the black and brown people, at a faster rate than anybody else, these guys just let it go. If it's black people you're killing or brown people or minorities, fine. And when Texas was opened, at the back of these people's minds, that is what they want to do. That is why the same states that are opening and allowing their people, minority people, to be infected, if they wish to be infected, are the very same states that are trying to change the election laws in America to prevent black and brown people from voting. So there's a method. This thing has been going on 200 years, Champagne. And but this is the kind of education we have to give our people too.
Yeah.
Because
as Peter is talking about Trump, the headline news today was very clear. He took the vaccine recently.
And his wife too.
Yeah, and his wife. But he's not telling his followers. And what the guy was saying, you have 70 million people who voted for you. You took it in one sense. So it's a sign of selfishness because he took it.
But he has always been selfish.
But in other words, when you say nothing.
Well, the news came out that he was informing his followers to take the vaccine.
But Sir Michael,
the news came out
Donald Trump took the vaccine whilst he was still president. The elections had taken place. He was still in the White House. You know what he did? He and his wife took the vaccine, but his followers never knew. But
anyway,
everybody
and up
knows.
to now they don't know because he's never come around to them.
Exactly.
So here's the thing. But yesterday there was a meeting between the WHO and I think the vaccine people. I don't remember what the company.
Come again, Champion?
There was a meeting yesterday between the WHO and some people who have to do with the vaccine. I don't remember what the name of the company is. And they came to a conclusion that the vaccines are safe. I saw that on the BBC this morning, that the vaccines are safe. The vaccines are not the causes of the blood clots, just like you said. But before we go into our local thing, I want to say something here. And from a businessman standpoint, Sir Michael.
Now, sorry, come again.
You want to do? You want to go?
You
I was asking you something from a businessman standpoint.
Yes.
You remember that tablet came about, something called hydrochloroquine, I think it was. And it was said that the WHO had disregarded it. They said it was not safe. Me personally, I thought that thing worked. I believe that because there was a lot of monies that have been already invested in a vaccine, that is just me speaking, they killed it. That is just me
Again,
speaking.
I'm not qualified to say so.
Yeah, I'm not qualified either, but I'm just
what I did hear, that in some ways it helped a little bit, but in others it didn't, and they couldn't rely on it, and they didn't want the public to actually believe that this thing works when it didn't work.
So, Michael, could you imagine if you had already put in billions of dollars in a vaccine, and somebody comes out with
that happens too. That happens too. But also, I'll tell you something that just happened. I forgot the name of it. You know that they've been manufactured a liquid in Guadeloupe. I don't know if you've been hearing about it. I have it in my car. I forgot the name of it. Anyway, and many people in the Martinique and Guadeloupe have been taken. They said they're not taking the vaccine. Now, you know there was carnival a couple of weeks ago in Martinique. I showed you the pictures.
Thousands of people.
Okay? Now, these people bought up every vial of that there. They took it. They had no mask, no social distancing. And up to about 5 days ago, somebody said, you see, it worked because nobody got it. Yesterday, I got the result from Martinique.
Skyrocketed again?
Skyrocketed again.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's what I'm hearing,
Yes,
but we'll find out.
Yeah.
Look, we want to move on, Champion, because I have some very important information here to pass on to the public. Actually, I heard the information, and I was not going to give the information until the government did it. But Dominic Fede having come out on yesterday, he was making a contribution to, I think, I think it's Norbert's show. Or one
yes, he called in Norbert yesterday.
Yeah, and I don't know how many people were listening, but that information is very valuable for the St. Lucian public. I'm going to explain why. Between Dominic Fede and the Prime Minister, they highlighted that as of July this year, we're now in what, March?
We're in March, yeah.
April, May, June, July. So in 3.5 months' time, St. Lucia will be receiving more flights than it did before COVID.
Wow. Is that a fact? More flights before COVID?
They've indicated that at weekends, you'll have 14 flights in one day.
Where are you going to put these people at Hiwanura?
Yeah, well, we have handled it. It has been handled before.
14 flights?
One fall.
We have had more flights than that before.
I want to know where you're going to put the people.
I mean, where are they going to put them?
Well, he's talking about the parking.
The parking,
and he's
the
right.
terminal.
He's
the
right.
terminal.
Yeah, but that has been coming.
It has been happening
We've
before.
had 14 flights before.
It has been,
anyway,
yeah.
so that is one part that was highlighted, which is very, very good news. But I'm going to explain to St. Lucia why. Why? Because many people criticize the Prime Minister for keeping his borders open and bringing flights where he had to manage the COVID situation. Because the Prime Minister explained from day one, we have to learn to coexist with the vaccine.
Yes, he did say that.
Many, I'm not going to call which islands, but there are 3 islands in particular, that severed connections with the airlines because for safety reasons. And you know, that's the decision of the Prime Minister to cover their own territory. Our Prime Minister did not go in that direction. He tried to manage it at finance. As a result of that, the airlines are now appreciating what he did because even though they didn't make a lot of money, they were able to keep some planes in the air.
Yes, yes.
So he's getting a sort of priority today.
I understand that.
And as a result of all these other flights, the very important flight he's getting is one from Texas direct.
Yeah.
He never got a direct flight from Texas to St. Lucia. But more importantly, JetBlue is putting on a number of extra flights as a result of that. Delta is putting on more flights, and hence the reason why all of that is happening. That is one aspect. Peter, I know that normally we should be sharing our contribution, but with your permission, if you allow me to go ahead.
You go ahead.
Yeah, I have to make this information
I'm
available.
also here to learn, you know.
Yeah, okay. So I have told you about the airlines, what is happening. As a result, by the end of March, nearly every hotel will be fully opened on the island as a result of the influx that we are getting.
That is good news.
Okay?
That is not even just good news, just
Right.
economically.
Now, that is one aspect.
Yeah.
The second aspect, which I didn't want to disclose, but it came out, and I will describe and highlight what is going on. The cruise ship industry. Again, the Prime Minister has been in touch with the cruise lines on a regular basis, and because of the way that the airlines were treated, and don't forget that airlines and cruise ships work
they go
hand in hand.
That's right.
Okay?
That is right.
So, the decision has been taken by the cruise lines, both Royal Caribbean and Caribbean Cruise Lines, to use Barbados as a base instead of normally Puerto Rico
Going to
or
Puerto
Miami.
Rico or Miami, yes.
Right? And from June the 15th, we are likely to see cruise ships back here.
This year?
Yes, this year.
Wow.
Now,
That is big
they
news.
have chosen Barbados as a base for more reasons than one. I guess the flights or whatever it is. But then you also have the fact that because St. Lucia has been very cooperative in the airline industry, they are going to be making regular calls. Now, I don't know about the other islands, but I can assume they will also go to the other islands because when a person takes a cruise, it's good to go around. And so June this year, all going well, I don't tell you we'll get the full
Yes,
brunt
I
of
understand.
but
Yeah.
you have a significant chance of seeing a big improvement in that area.
So instead of you flying over to Puerto Rico to join a cruise
You
ship,
fly to Barbados.
you go to Barbados.
Correct.
I hope that does not affect our cruise ship terminal down there in the south that is on
No,
stream.
no, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
I'm coming to
All
that.
right, beautiful.
I have some very important information
Beautiful.
on that. Okay?
Beautiful.
So, naturally, they've been talking about vaccinations and so forth, and that's where it's coming. So most of the people who go on this cruise will have to be vaccinated because Barbados is quite rigorous in what they want. However, Barbados realizes that if they don't move, not only COVID will kill them, but the economy, a downward turn,
collapse,
will
yeah.
affect them.
Yeah.
So the chances are that the taxi drivers have something to look forward to this morning. When I say they probably heard it, but they heard it in piecemeal, but I'm giving them what I understand is factual, that this is something they can go to the bank with.
All right.
That come June, July, there are going to be significant changes in that area. However, I want to say one thing to St. Lucia. That is why all of us have to put our best foot forward and try to control the virus here at home so we have no lockdowns when those ships and those planes come.
Yeah.
We've got to prepare ourselves. And that is why, even though that some of us and the opposition is preaching, well, the reason why they have the problem in Soufrière and around, because people are frustrated. There is no question about it. There is a level of frustration that goes with what is going on. But what can we do? We didn't ask God for COVID-19.
Yeah.
It's here. It's all over the world.
Yes.
We just have to be intelligent and learn to live with it. It is there. When they had flu before and a man is coughing and coughing, don't you tell the man, look, go outside and cough or put a handkerchief in your mouth. So it's nothing new, okay? Sure. It's only that this one is a bit more prevalent.
Yeah.
So it increases the aspect of people getting infected very quickly.
Yeah, it's
and
a little more
because of the fact
contagious.
that it's new, everything that's new is unknown to us. So it's a learning curve. That's to put it mildly. It's a learning curve.
Yeah.
Now, the third thing that I want to say to you that's quite important, there are actually two more things. I listened about 7 weeks ago, I was listening to my radio, and I heard something, and I immediately called the Prime Minister. I said, Prime Minister, I've just heard that. The information I picked up, Champion, was that Turks and Caicos are very close to Miami area, the United States. Turks and Caicos is an extremely, extremely expensive destination. It's a small destination with almost the best beaches in the world.
Wow.
But nothing to do, there's not a lot to see. It's not a very beautiful island. It's just salt ponds with nice sand, unlike St. Lucia, Grenada, and those places where you can go to the
waterfalls,
hills
you could do
and
it,
see the nice veg. That doesn't exist.
Right.
But what the Turks had in its favor is proximity and cleanliness. Okay? What has now happened? The government of Turks, they got a new government some 6 months ago. The new prime minister has written to the cruise line and said, you are persona non grata here anymore. We do not want your business.
Really?
Yeah. What they told the cruise lines is that there was a massive cruise line depot to take place, construction in Turks, that has been cancelled.
Wow.
And after some discussion, they then said, okay, fine, we'll allow limited cruise ship passengers to come into Turks. But you know, Champagne, Turks can afford to do that because they get so many flights because they're so close and their hotels are limited. The biggest hotel in Turks is owned by Sandals, 1,200 rooms.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they don't only depend on tourism, they depend on a lot of offshore banking as well.
They have that too. Yeah. So, but it's a British colony, so to speak. It's controlled by the United Kingdom. They can get certain money. It's a small country, limited amount of people. However, that is their decision.
Yeah.
That is it. Now, you know what that has done, Champagne? A cruise ship terminal was to be constructed in Beaufort.
Yeah.
COVID put a damper on it. But what has happened since then is that with Turks out of the way, it has excited the people. We better start there as quickly as possible.
Oh, wow.
So as a result of that decision, I'm not saying only St. Lucia is being looked at, but I can tell you for a fact that St. Lucia has been contacted, and that cruise ship berth is in Beaufort is likely to start sooner than expected.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow.
It has been intensified.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah, I
but
understand.
I'm saying to St. Lucia, the chances of it happening are more secure today than ever, because I had concerns with the COVID situation of the billions of dollars that the cruise ship lost. How long are they going to take to go and borrow money to do a cruise ship when they already have certain places in Miami and all these areas, okay? So, now, the last important contribution I have to make today is with the banana industry. Everybody has been talking about what is happening in the banana industry. The farmers have not been paid. But let me explain to St. Lucia, in case they don't really know what went on. There was a company called Winfresh. I think the gentleman in charge was Mr. Cornybut. He'd been there for years. Mr. Cornybut is a very intelligent gentleman who knows the business, but whatever has happened, there's been a level of failure surrounding the banana industry. One of the main problems with the banana industry is that it was owned by 4 islands.
Yeah.
St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Grenada, and Dominica. And as you know, Champagne, in the last 8 or 10 years, only St. Lucia has been producing bananas.
Yeah.
Dominica is out, St. Vincent is out, Grenada is out. And St. Lucia has been facing an ongoing problem because Winfresh was earning most of its money by the directors of Winfresh buying cheap bananas in the Dominican Republic and selling under the quota of Winfresh. Now,
Was that legal?
sorry?
Was that legal? Was that
Yeah,
okay to be
there's
done?
nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Because it happened when the islands had hurricanes, and I think they got permission to do that.
Okay.
And I guess the directors saw, well, why the hell should we bother with St. Lucia if we can get all the bananas we want
Over
cheaper
there,
than St.
yeah.
Lucia? To hell with them.
Yeah.
And I personally raised that with Mr. Cornybut myself, either a little before the last elections or rightly after that. I'd never met Mr. Cornybut in my life. I personally had an interview with Mr. Cornybut, and I explained my concerns because I picked it up from the farmers. Now, this thing has gone on for quite a while. But what happened, I don't want to get myself in trouble today, but the various islands were happy to leave things as they were because Winfresh still made $1 because they were able to get a little commission or whatever it is they got, some sort of
So
compensation.
basically, what I'm understanding is
Yeah.
they were going in that method, buying the bananas from Santo Domingo, selling it to England, but the bananas, the countries that don't produce bananas, like Dominica, Grenada, and St. Vincent, were still getting something,
Yeah,
a little stipend.
because they owned a quarter of Winfresh.
Yes,
Because
okay.
the islands own it.
Okay, all right.
And I know for a fact, Sir John Compton, possibly Stephenson King, Prime Minister Chastanet, had discussed the matter with these islands to let us fold up this thing and sell out their shares or pass it on because they were not interested in the bananas anymore. But they were reluctant to do so.
By
Okay?
this thing, you mean Winfresh.
Sorry? Yeah.
When you say full up this thing, you
Yeah,
mean
with
Winfresh.
Winfresh, yeah.
Right.
With Winfresh. In other words, divest themselves because they were not in the banana business. And the reason why they were in it, because all islands were producing the bananas. However, as Winfresh got deeper and deeper in debt, okay?
Let me interject, Sir
Sure.
Michael. Sorry. Why would Winfresh get into any kind of debt? But they were already still getting bananas at a cheaper rate, as you indicated,
Good
from
question.
Santo Domingo. Why would
Good
they be in debt?
question. I leave that for the St. Lucian public to decide.
Okay, all right.
So, what has now happened? The debt increased and increased, and they built up a debt of 10 million pounds.
10 million pounds.
10 million pounds.
That's
of
almost
debt.
40 million EC. Almost.
Right? A lot of money. So, the decision had to be taken which direction it's going. And let us fast track. Winfresh went into liquidation. And you have a receiver in the United Kingdom handling Winfresh. And Winfresh, the receivers then said to the islands, okay, you have a problem. You have £10 million in debt. We need £2.5 million from each of you all to liquidate that debt.
Where's that money going to be coming from?
They said no. Or should I say, they were not inclined to find that money. They were given some time. As a result, Winfresh went into full liquidation. So Winfresh is being controlled by the liquidators. Okay? And now that they have done that, the liquidators are now managing Winfresh until such time that proper action can be taken. Okay?
Can I ask, where does that leave the farmers, Sir
Yeah,
Michael?
just a second. St. Lucia realized the importance of Windfresh, then had to put up, I think, 1 million pounds, I'm not quite sure of the amount, a certain amount of money, because Windfresh has also had a direct loan from, I think, Barclays Bank or one of the banks, okay? And to be able to keep the company alive, I think they were advised that they should really pay this money. And St. Lucia did inject that money to keep the receivership of Windfresh alive. Now, but since St. Lucia wants to remain in the banana industry, yeah, it is to their advantage to work with the receivers, because the others couldn't care less. I guess they walked away. So that's the end of Windfresh as an organization. Yeah. And that is why the farmers cannot be paid, because Windfresh owed all this money. But St. Lucia has not sat idly by, because St. Lucia has to ensure that the banana industry can and will survive. And I want to say to St. Lucia, the banana industry will survive. Because what has happened in Champagne is that the receiver, in conjunction with other agencies, are finding a way now for St. Lucians to sell their bananas at a good price. And there are two important aspects ongoing at this time. One, there's an individual involved who is likely to buy the bananas and possibly ship to the United States. But the other one, which I as an individual would prefer to see, is a company coming in, opening a factory in St. Lucia to take all the bananas and convert it into sort of a baby food where all the bananas will be taken. So you won't have that foolishness of, you know, well, this one is not, that banana is not good, because everything goes into one pot and can happen. And I think from what is happening now, Invest St. Lucia has become part of the bargaining body for the banana industry. So in other words, what Corlibut was doing, Invest St. Lucia will now do. So, because it's important to keep that banana industry alive, and I'm very convinced that something good by this year, St. Lucia will be appraised of the direction they're going.
Before we turn over to Mr. Peter, because he would know a lot about the banana industry.
Right.
So who do the liquidators turn to for their money? Because if St. Vincent, Grenada, and Dominica, so they just consider they lost.
Yeah,
they're taking a loss.
The people they owe will just lose. I don't know who they owe. I guess, I don't know if it's fertilizers, what it is, but that is the situation.
So they have considered that it to be a loss.
So what happens in cases like that when you go into liquidation? People lose their money.
They lose their money.
And which leaves a bad taste in the mouth of people for whatever it is. But
but our farmers are not going to be in any trouble in terms of when they sell, they take monies out of their pay for that loan.
No. And my gut feeling is, I think from what I've been hearing and reading in the papers, that I think they owe the bananas something like $2 million, something like that.
You see?
Yeah. I can see at some point, after the budget and when things start to settle down, the government will probably assist. Although I have listened to Mr. Ezekiel Joseph, and he says, well, they have to go to court, but for their money.
So, Michael, you know how many times the governments with the S have bailed out the farmers?
Yeah.
Something is not working, and it is not the farmers.
Yeah.
It is not the farmers. You may choose not to go down that road, but whatever monies that is always seem to be missing, it has nothing to do with the farmers. The farmers are going out there on their plantations, bringing in those fruits, selling it, and they get their pay, but there's always a debt.
But without cutting you short, what has happened there in between? They may not have got a lot of money, because what Corlibut did, now I'm not blaming Corlibut, I'm just telling you what transpired under his watch.
So, Michael, I'm sorry.
Hold on, and that is that the standard to ship bananas to the United Kingdom, which is what Corlibut is concerned with, a lot of bananas were turned away because they said they didn't meet the standards. So although that has been going on for the last how many months, St. Lucia actually ships a lot of bananas to Barbados, mainly Barbados, some to Antigua, but mainly Barbados on a weekly basis.
I know
so
that,
their farmers have been getting some kind
Still
of
making
money,
a little something,
not what they should get because, it has not been holistic enough for them to survive. And a lot of people feel and want to blame this government or that government here. But the thing is that it was badly run, Shannon.
I will ask a question, but not to you. I will ask it to Mr. Peter. Why was the banana being managed? Farmers made a lot of money during Sir John's time as opposed to today, when we had the green gold. Is it because there was fairness? Is it because it was well managed?
I'll let Peter answer,
yes,
but
I will
you
will say something on that as well.
So.
Yeah.
I thought you were asking me a question. You want to ask me and answer the question too.
Okay. No, I didn't answer. I just asked you.
Anyway, the important point is that in Sir John's time, the market was different. There was no WTO controlling. We had no competition in Europe. But let me say something that is crucial to this discussion. And you almost put your finger on it. The banana industry has been always mixed up with the local politics. The banana farmers have been misled on too many occasions. Remember the coupe par coupe?
Yeah.
We would have thought, any rational person would have thought, after the banana people had given Dr. Anthony and his friends in the Banana Salvation Committee all of what they asked for with a massive 16-1 majority, one would have thought that by today there would be no more problems in the banana industry. But there are still problems. And I heard Monrose, who is the leader in the fair trade thing, asking the government to bail out the farmers.
Again.
But let me say something. The Prime Minister and Minister of Finance does not take money from his pocket to pay anybody, including banana farmers. This is taxpayers' money.
That's right.
I believe there has to be some kind of permanent solution, and I believe Sir Michael has kind of hinted at it. This banana industry should be in the hands of a private company. And the go-between in the meantime, in the interim, should be Invest St. Lucia.
But let me ask you, sorry, hold your phone.
No,
hold on.
Don't disturb me.
No,
man.
Listen, you said...
I am not listening. Let me finish my point of view.
But I am...
Let me finish my point of view.
But you don't know what I'm going to ask you.
I don't have to know. Let me finish say what I'm saying, and then you can ask a question.
Okay, go ahead.
It's not that I don't want to be disturbed.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
No, but we're having a conversation. If you're saying something, I'm only really asking based on what you just said.
You go
said
ahead,
the banana it should be in the hands of the a private company. So I was just going to ask you whether or not isn't Windfresh a private company. That's what I wanted to ask you.
Windfresh no longer exists.
No, I'm saying at the time, wasn't there a private company?
We're not talking about Windfresh anymore. That is passé. The governments had interest in Windfresh.
Let me
it
just say
belonged
something
to them.
Champagne.
Yeah.
It wasn't a private company. Because
that's what I'm asking.
No, it was owned by 4 islands.
So that's what I'm asking.
I think what Peter was saying that a private company where an individual, one company controls it.
Now I understand that. Now I only was asking whether or not Windfresh was such a company.
No. Windfresh belongs a quarter, 25% each to the Windward Islands. So one of the reasons Windfresh failed, and I was on the board for a little while, is because there were at least 3 directors, I won't call their names, who were literally in the hands of the chief executive officer. Sir Michael can't say that because he was not on the board. I can say that. And decisions were made even before we had a board meeting. So Windfresh actually loaned money to people. And there was one time I got so mad, I think I cursed the whole board and the CMO at the time, the COO, by taking farmers' money and lending it to private sector people in England. That has happened.
You hear that for yourself?
Yeah.
Now, I'm standing aside. He was on the board.
Yeah.
So he's giving information.
We're getting
You
information.
see, the difference between me and you, Sir Michael, is that I don't give a damn, I have no money. But you can't speak like me because you can't speak like me. Your son is the prime minister. You have to be careful
That
what you
is correct,
say.
yeah.
I have been, I'm a has-been. I have no money. I have been there. I know a lot of things.
Well, that
and
makes two
I am
of us.
free to speak, and nobody will stop me from speaking in my
But
country.
people say you have money, you know, Peter.
Yeah, that's the one God. the manna from heaven.
Yeah.
Money from heaven. So what I'm saying to you today, this thing has to be completely reorganized. And the government of St. Lucia or no other government should be permitted to have shares. Give the farmers the help they need, start the company, let Invest St. Lucia deal with them. In the interim, I agree that the government should try to help them. But guess what? Everybody Champagne is asking government for money.
All the
The other
time.
day I heard my friend Ipa saying that
Everybody wants money.
the people at the, how they
The
call
vendors.
it? The vendors.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Everybody's asking.
Some people asking for special treatment for the vaccine. Everybody is looking for a favor.
Yeah.
Everybody needs money, right? And you know what is interesting? I believe they really think that Alan Chastanet is a good manager and he has the money to give them. If not, they wouldn't ask him. Si c'était Kenny Anthony qui était là, yo pièce pas commander pour l'argent because Kenny pas jamais l'argent.
Not
You
just
understand?
that, and we had that discussion the other day where I said some people are of the view maybe because the Prime Minister's father is a successful businessman, maybe he should just go to the Prime Minister's father and get money. You remember we had that discussion?
yeah.
I want to get back on the
I
wind
wouldn't be,
fresh.
just let me finish quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if some people are that
Of
that
course, yeah,
opinion.
of course.
But I'll tell you what. In my most cynical moments, if I was still in politics campaigning and I wouldn't give a damn what happened, you know what I would tell them? I coupe, pas coupe. The same thing you are doing to bring down, I coupe,
Yeah.
pas coupe, coupe, pas coupe. You remember that time?
Of course.
Saint Lucia, c'est nous trois ça va créer un pas toi insurrection. I had a guy working for me, man. He's still there. I just left the bananas for him, and the guy was afraid to harvest.
Yeah.
He had little children to send to school. He was afraid to harvest. Why? Because people know my van. It was my vehicle, and they would stop him if he was going to the Vieux dogs to sell. That is a lot of people paid. And I believe some people even paid with their lives. They were burning sheds, doing all kind of things. Today, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the children and grandchildren of these people, the same people that try to destroy the banana industry, that are coming cap in hand and begging Alan Chastanet's government to think. But you know what? This morning, we are talking about forgiveness. All of us fall short of the glory of God. And they are St. Lucian farmers. We must have kind of, look at them more with a better heart, a more forgiving heart. So I would say, yes, try to help them, but there must be a timetable by which they will return the money to the government, because that money, that same money can be taken, and that's the point I wanted to make. That same money can be taken to help IPA and his vendors. That same money can be taken to help other people who have no food on the table. That is the point I'm trying to make. Okay?
But why?
And you notice when I'm speaking about these things, I don't put water in my mouth, and I don't say it as if I'm confessing sins to a priest, right?
Why is it always when the executives of the banana companies or committees or the CEOs always allowed to get a free pass when monies are missing, and the government always have to come in to bail them out? Why is there never been an investigation? Because the poor farmers are the ones suffering all the time. Why has there never been an investigation into this thing? Because this is not just the first time. I remember SLBGA, government had to bail them out during the time of Mr. Kajada, 40 million. And they went on, they said, but the farmers said they could have formed their own company. It was given to them by Sir John. The government had to take it over. You were there, Brother Peter, you know about it.
Champagne is very simple, We have never had a government with the rectitude of a strong socialist kind of leaning. We have had fly-by-night people who believe in democracy and don't believe in putting people's foot or hand to the fire. And I have always been of the view, the only way you can change St. Lucia is when one of these big pappies, either in the private sector, the banana industry, or government itself, go and take a good prison term. That is when St. Lucia will change. But the minute we are prepared to sweep things, forgive, you can forgive, but the law is the law.
Yeah.
You understand the point I'm making?
Yeah.
I didn't come here this morning to discuss that, but I'm so happy it's on.
Yeah.
And I saw Monroe's, was it Eustace Monroe's?
Yeah.
I saw him, and I would say, okay, the government should help him, but there must be a timetable by which the government will get their money back, and there must be a program by the government to invest St. Lucia to find a way to privatize the banana industry.
Now
let me
moving,
say
sorry,
something
Mr.
before we
Michael,
go. No,
one
just
second.
something short. I just got to ask them that many people are not aware of the fact that we are on channel 115.
115,
They think it's
yes.
only on the radio. So I would like just...
Yeah, okay, so St. Lucia, if you would like to view us, we are on channel 115 GBD TV. 115 GBD TV, and you could see us live. And tomorrow, the rebroadcast also on channel 115 GBD TV. But we are also on Sky FM 93.1. Now, we always here on a Wednesday, we're having a discussion, the three of us. If I'm saying something and you want to interrupt, just to clarify something, we could do it. Just like you, sir, Mr. Peter. I was bringing up the point earlier for our listeners, those who do not know too much about Windfresh, whether or not that it was a government operative company or as opposed to a private company. This is why I wanted to ask the question.
Now, Peter mentioned something and you mentioned something, and you asked, why is there not an investigation?
Yeah.
You know how it is in the Caribbean and in this radio. But I'm going to say, what I would suggest, that if they don't have an investigation, but what Peter just said, there's sufficient information to know. They don't have to mention the names, but the public should know, and the banana farmer should know where those monies went to, who that money was lent to. And I'm telling you, Champagne, I didn't want to say anything. You're talking of big money.
A lot.
Big money. And not only in St. Lucia, but it happened in the other islands for other reasons. And they should find out, and that's what, and it didn't happen under the current administration. That has been going on for years. Because as Peter Josie said, when John Compton got in, I think it was Sir John who put you on the board, am I correct, Peter?
Yeah.
He had his instructions, what he had to do. So Sir John was already worried and cognizant of the fact what was going on, okay? And it's high time that they pick out, let me tell you something, all I'm asking for is 6 names only of the kind of monies of the, owned by, instead of them keeping the money to keep the Windfresh going, the money went elsewhere. You know, Champagne, in our discussions here for the last how many months, I keep telling people, when you're running a business that's doing well, keep your money into one pocket, okay? If you have to invest, you only invest sufficient but to maintain your stability. But you don't take all your money as though it's going to be coming in ad infinitum. Nothing lasts forever in life.
Right.
Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
So when you're running a business, you must put your money aside and protect yourself. You don't just give away everything you have, like what they want the Prime Minister to do today. Because they figured the Prime Minister has the ability to borrow money and to keep the money going. Give me.
Yeah.
That cannot continue.
And just one last thing quickly on that. When Dr. Anthony came in and he gave the Banana Association and everything, and other boards of agricultural things like the coconut people and things to 1 or 2 of his friends, nobody asked questions because they were too busy with the politics, right? And they wanted to put aside Sir John and things They did what they had to do. But guess what? I was passing through by Chef Harry in those days. That was the swinginest place in St. Lucia.
Green
Parrot. And I saw one of the big puppies that the Prime Minister had given the banana thing to, sitting alone at the bar with a bottle of wine in front of him. I'd never seen that before. You know, I would like to use the words that came to my mind at that time, but I will not do it. Because l'âge camène la raison. When I saw this guy, and I said, boy, look at that. Look at what the farmers of St. Lucia and the government, that stupid government went to do. You know? Because when that happened, you know what? The tail was wagging the head of the dog, okay? The head was the Prime Minister. The tail was the people from the banana thing that he put them in important positions. And up to now, I think we have not cured that problem. And last thing I want to say on that. When the people are asking money and money and money, and I told you some of that money is needed for other people like Ipa, our friend, when they need feeder roads for the banana farmers or for any group of farmers, Do they go to Winfresh, the former Winfresh?
No, they don't.
Do they go to the, how they call it, the fair trade people?
Good point. Go
They come to the government.
That's right.
So everybody, government is like a cash cow. Even those who have never paid $1 in tax, they want the government. The country can't work that way, Champagne. I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
Well, Champagne, I don't want to cut your show short,
You're right.
but we have spent a lot of time here on this show. Mr. Technician, you ready for me? Yeah. I'll give you a couple of minutes.
I wanted to ask you before we go to the
we'll come to that.
Yeah.
We will want to just highlight what has happened as far as the constructions go. But please, go ahead.
The same question I asked Brother Josie earlier in regards to during the Sir John Compton's era on the bananas, green gold. It was properly managed. The farmers made money. You could have seen the big homes farmers built. They sent the children to university. As opposed to now, what was the difference between the two times?
I'll tell you what the difference is, Champion. As Peter quite right. In all fairness, I don't want to crucify Winfresh unnecessarily. In those days, you had a dedicated market. The dedicated market you had was as a result of Britain giving us a certain concessions, okay? And, we could just ship the bananas, okay? But, what went on is that the Americans, because of their connections with Chiquita and Dole, who had 95% of the total market in the world, but still wanted to crave for the extra 5% the Caribbean and the Africans, what they call the ACP countries, had, okay? And they persecuted us. They went to court 3 times. They lost twice. On the 3rd time, they won because the WTO said that it was unfair what Britain was doing to give us a concession. And Britain realized how important it was to us, said, no, I'm going to continue to subsidize you people. And you know what they've done? The American government went after the manufacturers in other industries in the United Kingdom and penalized them until such time that they gave in to the WTO rulings and said, okay, fine, if you wouldn't stop helping the Caribbean with their bananas, we're going to penalize your small manufacturers.
They put taxes on the wine,
and
put taxes on
a lot of them went out of business. So they had no choice but to go in that direction.
Yeah, that was cool.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, but what I'm saying, Champagne, and where I think we went wrong, unfortunately, when Dr. Anthony went into, there was, to get John Compton out of power, they figured they had to destroy the banana industry. Yeah. That's what basically happened.
That's correct. That's very
true.
true.
Bottom line.
Okay. Yeah. Is there any hope?
They cut their nose to spite their face.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm saying it is so sad because how many of us in St. Lucia are saying today, oh, we need to go to agriculture. We had the agriculture in our hands. Even though, Champagne, we had lost the United Kingdom, we could have still survived because you had places like Antigua, Barbados, where we could send bananas to, and we could have still sent because what happened there? Certain supermarkets came and started something called fair trade.
Yeah.
I think it was Sainsbury, one of them had started off and said, look at me, you can't stop us. We will still buy from the Caribbean because we like their bananas. So there were opportunities still alive, not as promising as well, but they just let everything go because they were customers making big money. But also remember, I'm not blaming the farmers today, but farmers then were doing a lot of nonsense. They were putting macambu in the boxes. They were putting stones in the boxes.
Yeah.
And that is why, at the end of the day,
we lost
what Geese did, he said they gave everybody a number. Your number is 505.
Right.
You ship bananas and you do foolishness.
Yeah,
we're not going to buy them anymore.
Those marks.
So what they would do normally, they would put the banana in somebody else's box.
Wow.
But the person then said, you better not put any crap in my box. I don't want to. But you see, that's what went on. There's blame on both sides. But we had the damn thing in our hands. We should have never allowed the banana situation to fall apart the way it fell apart.
Before we go to the photos, is there any hope? Is there
Is
there any hope?
There is definitely hope because of what I
what
told
you just said.
Coming on. But
okay.
what has really happened in Champagne, it would shock you. I know to a certain extent what happened, but I'm not going to say on the air. There are certain individuals here in St. Lucia that were bailed out from certain businesses to the tune of almost $5 million.
My goodness.
They bought land in Grenada. They started a smoothie factory in Grenada. Why is the directors of Winfrey starting a smoothie factory in Grenada when you have, you're taking your money and investing in something that's non-productive, hoping that, oh, the money will keep flowing. They bought estates in Dominica that are sitting idle today, right? So I'm telling you something, a simple little investigation will make the St. Lucia understand where this nonsense went on.
We need
bad management, champion.
We need a comprehensive investigation.
For us,
and you know why that was going on?
Just tell me when you're ready. Take your time.
The banana farmers were getting blows from one side.
Ready?
And when they were doing all the turmoil, let me just finish this quickly. I know, and it was all on the ground, that some of their leaders at that time, in the Coupe par Coupe, the banana strikes, they were talking to Chiquita very quietly, and Chiquita was making all kind of promises. That's an American company, because Chiquita wanted to get into the European market. They didn't want
We'll get Media to move, that's
okay. So
just go back a bit, Pete. Right back. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is when you have a small area. All right, St. Lucia, for the moment, we will be going into, let me introduce you.
As part of our program on a weekly basis, we try our best to bring St. Lucians up to date of what is happening in the country, because there are certain people who say that nothing is happening. So I think seeing is believing, and we will give a general idea of what is going on. So, Mr. Technician, you may proceed, and I will, okay, right. The first item there is the Cul-de-sac Bridge. I was there yesterday or day before. I was simply amazed. Now, what we're looking at now, that is 3/4 of what the roundabout is going to be like. In other words, that piece of land you're looking at today, what joins it is the Millennium Highway just across the road. So when everything is finished, the whole roundabout will take up that area there. And what you're going to see is that traffic from Soufrière will enter that roundabout. Traffic from Castries will enter that roundabout. Traffic from the Morn Road will come about. Traffic from Vieux-Fort, so everything will swing around that. This is all the equipment. I can say one thing. I went there yesterday. The level of professionalism that I see there is incredible. When I saw the size drills for the big bridge that's going to go in, almost something like at the airport, what is going on today. This is unbelievable. That's going to be a total transformation for Cul-de-sac from what you see here today. Yes, right. All that's part of the works going on at Cul-de-sac. And I'll tell you something, St. Lucia. When I was there, I took a picture of the old bridge that was there. I was so nervous when I saw the condition of that bridge there. And I said to one of the employees, "What do you think of the condition?" He said, "Mr. Chastanet, that bridge is standing by sheer habit."
Wow.
Yeah, by sheer habit. I mean, yeah. So, you know, now, having left Cul-de-sac, what you're looking at is a major development at Lafargue-Choiseul. Some 70-something acres have been taken over by Invest St. Lucia, and magnificent roads. Look at that, that's a main artery going in there. 114 lots have been surveyed, and nearly all of them have been sold already, and people still wanting more, and it's the intention of Invest St. Lucia to probably do another 70 or 80 lots. This area is so beautiful, it overlooks, if you look in the background, you'll see the ocean, and a wonderful, wonderful view. So, again, when people talk about building houses for locals, there we go. Owned by locals. Each lot is about 10 to 13,000 square feet, and the prices are varying around $10 or something a square foot. I don't know, but you can check with Invest St. Lucia. This is all the land that's being cleaned up now, and my technician will show you the other pieces of whatever he has. This is all the roads going into the property. It is fantastic, unbelievable. More roads, again, going way down and joining in some other area again. Yeah. So this is what is going on in Choiseul, and I guess many people were not aware of that. Thank you. Now, I also went to Dennery. We all know in St. Lucia what has been going on in Dennery for the last how many years. You have flooding, flooding, flooding. And this government has seen it, should I say, important to address the flooding situation. The drain you're looking at, it's approximately half a mile in length. What you're looking at there is the section coming into Dennery. Then as we go along, we'll show you where it takes a left turn and goes right to the highway where a lot of the water is coming. This is a junction for the water. There's a bridge, and the next picture will show you. No, get another one. Another picture. No. This is the play field, not the basketball, this is the sports field ground. But if there's another picture which shows you some colored, no. Right. Now, if you look at this concrete strip, that concrete strip you're looking at there, that's another drain that goes way down to the highway to pick up all the water, to bring all that will join what you saw first, and it takes you to the ocean. That concrete on the right is a basketball field, which is being placed there. And just at the back, which we showed you before, you have there we go, this is the grounds now. You see that concrete strip? All that's covering the drain, and that joins the junction of the other one. And it's about half a mile long. So that's a drain going right to the highway. No, not too fast. Let's go back. Yeah, right. The colored area is a sort of where the people will watch basketball games when they're going on, like a pavilion type of thing, and also the playfield. Yeah, we can proceed. Thank you. This is St. Jude's Hospital, which has been going forward at a rapid rate. One of the reasons why it has been going forward at a rapid rate, because having fabricated all those panels, it's a total of 1,200 panels we'll use for the entire building. Almost 800 have been completed, another 400 to complete. So as fast as they're completed, they are erecting them. So the progress looks far greater than before. Now, if you watch there's a ramp between there. That is a ramp that goes where the ambulance comes in. So during the day, if you want, this will have a nice railing. So since all the X-ray apartments will be on the ground floor and the various services, so if somebody has been taken for an X-ray who's actually living at the hospital, they would take a wheelchair and they would go up on that ramp and to get to the top in case the elevator is not working, or it will be their choice. And below that is a recreational area. So we can go ahead again. Let me see. Right. There, it's very clear now. So you have two ramps, one coming up from the ground. It makes like a turn, and where the gentleman is standing, everything goes up to the hospital there. But I was down there a couple of days ago, and it's fantastic. Look at all the stud walls are virtually completed upstairs. The ground floor is fairly well advanced, and there are three buildings. I think on St. Lucian's to do. There are three structures. That's the main structure where the 100 beds would be. Then you have the ramp, and the other building is a diabetic section, and for other bits of hospital work, I'm not quite sure what it's all about. But it's three different buildings, yeah. And at the back is the dialysis center, yeah. Now, okay, so we moved ahead. Okay, so now if you're looking at the back, the way that's unfinished, that is the dialysis center. And since I left there, I have photographs, and most of it was done in 3 days. And that's as far as St. Jude's is concerned. We can proceed. Now, this here, just St. Lucian's would know, that's the old Skyway Hotel, which has completely renovated by OECC. OECC are the main contractors for the airport. And what they have done, which is wonderful, You have, I think, either 30 or 40 technicians from abroad, technicians who do the main engineering works at the terminal. They occupy the top floor, which is, as you know, it was a hotel before. So they stay there. On the other floor, half of the other floor are rooms, but also you have offices for the all the departments, because this is a very complicated construction that's going on. You're looking at a $250 million US project. So you have top people who come abroad, Taiwanese especially, living there. And this is wonderful what they have done. And to the left of that, my technician will show you in a while, there's a restaurant which they've been renovated so that people have their meals. Yes. Now you see that other building there. I think that is also being used for staff quarters. And you can see a sign, something there in red, something restaurant. Anyway, that's what it is. Now, this here, again, we highlighted that last week, but I just wanted to bring it to the public because 95% of St. Lucians probably don't even know what that is. This is an FBO. An FBO is because for private jets, when private jets come in, I think they pay as much as $3,000 for a visit. If they come in for a day or whatever it is, and they want to leave, rather than go to the main terminal, they go inside there. You have immigration, you have customs, you have all your deaf facilities, you have a small canteen, you have your internet. So with the use of all that here, that place is being used, and it is something that is required. And what's so important about that, besides people coming to do business in St. Lucia, you have many business persons who are on their way to the Grenadines, and they prefer to come to St. Lucia, use those facilities, take a small plane that can land at any small aircraft landing field in Grenada or Mustique, one of those places, and go back home, but they use St. Lucia as a base. We can move on, yeah. Thought I should just take that. That picture was taken last Sunday. Just imagine, yeah, in COVID times, yeah, we had 8 aircrafts on the ground on Sunday gone, and some 850 passengers came in.
Saturday.
And 700 left.
Saturday.
Saturday, sorry.
Yeah.
Saturday, I'm sorry, yeah, Saturday. And I just thought, seeing is believing, that despite all what is going on in the world, St. Lucia is one of the few places today that have maintained that level of aircrafts coming in by the government working hand in hand with the tour operators and the airplane people because they're looking to get these planes moving because things have been very difficult. So a friend with helping them now is look at the private aircraft on the ground. That's the kind of the one closer to us. That's a private aircraft that's in today using the FBO. Thank you. We can move on. Right. Right. And this is an updated picture of what is happening at Font-Saint-Jacques-Soufrière, where the roads are moving forward much faster than anticipated because, you know, with good equipment these days, that a lot can happen. And I think we have live pictures. There we go. And we can keep on, technician. We got several pictures to show the public what is happening in Soufrière. Yeah. And I think from what I'm hearing that within 7 to 8 weeks, no, go back. Yeah. I sent you some last night. Yeah. You have it. It will come later. These were actually taken earlier, St. Lucia, but my technician will come back to that when he show you what else of what happened yesterday. So let's go ahead, technician. Yeah. Oh. There we go. Yeah. This is what that was what picture was taken yesterday. Have a good look at that picture of what is going on in that area. What is interesting because I had a discussion yesterday with a neighbor, and her comments were, thank goodness that road is not done, because they own a lot of land, several people own small spots. They are now able to build their home and come to Sutra instead of renting a home because they had the land but they had no access. So that's a big plus for the people of Sutra, and it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
You also spoke about the representative for Sufre.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
praised him.
Correct. Yeah.
Because those roads have not been touched
Yeah.
in ages.
Yeah. Actually, what the comment made by a resident was that all the years, the 15 or 16 years or whatever it was that the St. Lucia Labour Party remained there, they did what this guy has done in 4 years, they didn't do in 16 years. That's what one of the
Harold Stanislaus.
indicated, which is shows that a gentleman who's working and working for St. Lucia. Is that it? Any more, Mr. Technician? Yeah. Okay. This is the KFC, which was opened up. They had to close for a short while because they had some problems with the internet, but I think it's all sorted out now and beautifully cleaned up, and all the flowers have been put around. So it's really a plus for St. Lucia and for the people in the area. Yeah. Is that it? Yeah. St. Lucia, that's about it, and we want to thank you for giving us that time, and hope that people understand what's going on in the country. It's a lot of work going on, yeah. And I'm very proud, especially what is happening in Choiseul. Thank you, Mr. Champagne. Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Well, it just shows that this government, and I want to elaborate on something, because normally, and I've said that on previous shows,
Yes.
normally in every government we have had in the past, you see a lot of things happening in an election year. You
Yes.
know, a few months before. We saw it in the last elections. As a matter of fact, there were contracts that were awarded to members of the Labour Party in the sums of 30,000 2 days prior to the election. 2 days, and contracts were signed, big government contracts were signed a week prior to the election, and all kinds of stuff. But this administration, every single St. Lucia could say for a fact that work has been ongoing from 2016, immediately as they got into office, in terms of the amnesties, in terms of construction, in terms of the airlift, in terms of visitor arrivals, every single thing, and it has not stopped. So we must appreciate and ring the bell for what this government has done, even in the midst of the Corona era.
It's very
Even
simple,
in the midst of the
simple,
Corona era.
Champagne. It has to do with management.
Yes, sir.
This is not about PhD in law or any degree or anything. It's managing the finances of the country judiciously. This is what it's about. You have to be able, as Sir Michael said, to hold some money aside to do what you have to do, like what the Prime Minister likes to call the lockbox. When these guys came in the last time, they found a lockbox established for the building of Iwanura Airport. The most crucial part of your infrastructural development is people coming in, your own people going out. They took that money from the lockbox. Did they say what they did with it?
No.
Did they show anything? Look at St. Jude. You saw the mess that happened in St. Jude? I mean, you know, the old people...
Without cutting you short, Peter, this morning, it took a poll in America. 89% of both the Republicans and the Democrats stated that what should have been done in America was address the infrastructure in America. Bridges are not in good shape, haven't been attended to, and this is the time when there's nothing to do it. So there is little St. Lucia here
Doing
addressing
what
the
America
infrastructure,
ahead of what,
and some people complaining.
That's right.
But most countries, most progressive countries, for Singapore, for instance, from day one, they've been working on their infrastructure to get ready for the takeoff.
During the Corona times. So the President Biden said it. He said, now is the time to build. Now is the time to spend. Go ahead, Abel.
But that's the point I was making. For a country like America, this is crucial. Equally for a little place like St. Lucia. And I spoke about the farmers, and that road infrastructure means farmers getting to and from their places more easily. People who are not well and living in areas where there are no roads, like we saw the development in Fort Saint-Jacques, Diamond, and these places, how are you going to get there as quickly as possible? If you build a home, you know, wouldn't you prefer to be able to drive as close to your home as possible?
And Dalso, well, I want to use the word, Mr. Dalso,
Yeah.
that road was damaged after Hurricane Thomas.
Yeah.
Hurricane Thomas was 2010.
Correct.
They
Promised.
They came in immediately after the hurricane. You could say that because the election was in November of 2011. The member spent 5 years, that was Dalso, talking all over the place, all kinds of stuff, and never saw it fit to fix that Esperance Road through the Diamond. 5 years.
Yeah.
Spent there.
But
Never did a
you know,
thing.
Champagne, the same thing happened with the Soufrière Bridge. When the current Prime Minister lost the elections in Soufrière, before he went to the polls, because you never can tell how elections will
Yeah,
go.
that is for sure.
And he took the decision to break that Soufrière Bridge down.
Yeah.
He was determined, because if he didn't do it, it would never have been
It
done.
would have never been done.
Yeah.
I want to ring the bell on that.
Yeah, and-
I want to ring the bell on
Yeah.
that.
And as Guy Joseph said, I went down, there was a meeting where they opened the Hummingbird, and Guy Joseph always has the right answers. And he said at that meeting, he said, let me tell you all something. You had a bridge, it's like a one-way bridge.
That's what it was.
He says, compare it to a human body. When you eat, you have to go to the bathroom.
Yes, you do.
So if you, why? Because you have to get rid of
The waste.
Yeah, the waste. You only had a one-way into Soufrière. Yeah. So we put something where people could breathe.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. When you really look at that bridge today, that has transformed Soufrière.
So, Michael, you just said something there, and I don't think a lot of people have realized that. And the Soufrière people, I'm addressing that to you. If that Soufrière bridge, the one-way bridge, was not broken down prior to the election, that bridge would have never been built.
But listen to that.
Never been built.
But listen to that. To the state of the politics of St. Lucia then, and I hope not today, was that the campaign against Alan Chastanet at the time was focused on breaking down the
Yes,
Soufrière Bridge.
yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
It is as if, you know, these guys have something that is not good. They can't fix it,
They can't fix
but they don't want you to come
They
and
don't want to
fix
see it being fixed.
It's the same way they deal with the women, you champion. The same way they deal with their women. They see they have the woman there,
Yeah.
the woman looking all kind of ways, sometimes even razu.
Yeah.
Another guy comes in,
Yeah.
she start looking good,
Yeah.
put in a little makeup and things, so getting her hair organized because the guy is taking better care of her. You know they want to kill the woman. They don't want to kill the
No,
fella.
but this is serious. What
They
you're
don't
saying.
want to kill the fella that is taking care of the woman. Well,
Yeah.
very few of them. But they're so jealous of the woman, you know, that they don't want to see her looking good. Top nom guy, wow.
Oui.
You understand? That is what the Soufrière people did with that bridge. That is our little bridge, man. Don't touch it. Don't break it. Don't. If it's too nice, too many people will want.
So you're making that comparison with the Labour Party.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And you know that too. You know, you have to have a little taste
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a little class.
That is right. That
When
is
you
right.
have taste and class, you raise your game, champagne.
That's right.
You raise it.
That's right. That's right.
But you know, when that Soufrière Bridge was
Demolished.
being demolished, and they were putting in their little walkway to the
Yeah.
east side and so forth, you know, people may have forgotten, but the Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister at the time,
Yeah.
called a few of us together. You know how much money we put into the Soufrière Hospital? Let me tell you something. Caribbean Metals and ourselves alone put in over $150,000.
Wow.
That whole new roof that the Soufrière Hospital had,
Yeah.
is we put that in there because that place was leaking.
Yes,
Okay?
yes.
Cleaned it up, painted it.
And you never
Yeah.
made any noise about it.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was done. And I'm not saying St. Lucia, Soufrière doesn't need another hospital, but to date, I'm telling you, that hospital means a lot to me. I'll tell you why. Because when my brother, my second brother, qualified, he worked for 2 years
As a doctor.
As a doctor in
Oh,
Soufrière.
wow.
So I used to go down there.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time at the Soufrière Hospital with him. Yeah, and I saw what it looked like, and you know, it's a wonderful little place.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is.
It is what it is.
Yes,
you
it
know.
is.
But the Chastanet route, and family root is in Soufrière, right?
Well, really, no.
Or Laborie.
Not even sure. I'm not even sure.
But your grandma by your mother's side is from Laborie.
But
You said that last week.
My grandmother. On my
And
mother's
anyway,
side,
before we open up the lines, Brother Peter, I want to address something here to you specifically because a lot of people have called in. And that has to do with the Honorable Sir Neville Snack.
Yeah.
And listen to me, I heard the gentleman's speech yesterday. For a gentleman at that age, I always know he was articulate and brilliant, but that speech yesterday was something really, listen to me, that was a magnificent speech. He highlighted everything about St. Lucia, what we need to do in this country. He went from education to health to housing, every single thing, to security. I thought it was one of his best speeches, that is me personally. But it seemed to me, Brother Peter, that the Labour Party, that form of forgiveness, they're not interested in that. 34 years ago, the gentleman had whatever arrangement with he and Sir John Compton. The Labour Party has never forgiven him for what transpired that day.
That's interesting. But guess what? I want to answer it my way. Just give me a little chance. I will say to you, when Neville, at that time that's what he was, and that's how I still call him anyway when we speak as two people, crossed. Julian Hunt was to my right as leader of the opposition. I was immediately to Julian's left. I didn't know that, but I know that Julian had disappointed him in certain things, but he didn't give me the full story. By he, I mean Sir Neville.
Yeah.
So I said, Julian, you know what? All of us, let's cross.
You did say that?
Yeah, I said, Julian, everybody here. But these fellas, they can't think on their feet. They're heavy. You know, you have to be nimble. Your brain have to be working overtime and be smart.
Yes.
When you're in this political thing and you're in the arena, I say, boy, let's all cross. What would Compton do? We're all of us are one government now. Let us see what Compton. But listen to what I did. Something told me that was going to come up. But let me just read a little prayer. That's not something I like to do. I keep my business between my God and myself private.
Yeah.
When harmful, hidden attitudes come to the surface, we can pray as the psalmist David did. And David said, for the sake of your name, Lord, forgive my iniquity, though it is great. Humbling exposure, though painful, is good for the soul. It is one of the ways in which he instructs, he meaning God, instructs sinners in his ways. He guides the humble in what is right, teaches them his way. Jesus takes us where we are and makes us what we should be. That is a message to everybody who is criticizing any politician, including the Governor General. Jesus takes us where we are and makes us what we should be. And I'm humble opinion, and that is directed to a certain person this time, a particular person. The prayer is over. There are no two people more different than one who thanks God every day for removing him from where he was in the Labour Party to putting him where he is today, than another who is out of the Labour Party and begging every day to be in that party. Amen?
Amen.
I just got a WhatsApp to answer your question.
Yeah.
My grandfather, Charles Chastanet, was born in Soufrière in 1839.
I told you the Chastanet.
1839.
The Chastanet, I knew that because where do you think our Chastanet came from?
Yes.
It has to be a Chastanet root. You're a Soufriérian.
So we want to go back to this thing there now. So Norbert said it on his program last night, and he read parts of the Constitution that highlights this thing. God forbid the Labour Party forms the next government. The Prime Minister has to be sworn in by the current Governor General, because at that time I don't think they would
That's an interesting thing.
Okay. What would happen if this Governor General says, okay, I'm not going to swear you guys in. Can he do that, or
He
can he
can't
say that?
I don't think he can say that.
Okay,
That would be an abdication of his
okay,
duty.
right.
The thing is, would these guys be so shameless?
Oh, they don't have no shame. They would.
But you haven't got far to go. Look at what they did to George Mallon.
Oh yes, they forced him to read and say something
They
that he
probably would
didn't
do
want
the same
to say.
thing to
They
him.
would do the same thing. They would do the same thing. St. Lucia, I hope we are listening and remembering the history of these guys, the St. Lucia Labour Party.
But you know
I
something?
think we have to open up our
Oh, yeah,
minds.
we are.
One final thing before we open. There is, I don't like to use the word class, but there's a group of people, like in the 70s, like myself and Chandel Moore, the Governor General, and people like that, for whom it was a privilege to have attended St. Mary's College. And I tell my children, I tell everybody who listens, that my father wanted me to go, and I didn't see the need to leave my little Vieux thing. I had animals already. I was already thinking of making
Business,
money.
yeah.
Business.
Yeah.
But I tell you something, St. Mary's College has opened so many doors for me. And I guess it opened for all the college boys in our age group.
Yeah.
And when we sang the college song, we were all one. We were Abercrombie, Presentation, Rodney, or Tapo. We had 4 houses, but all of us were united as St. Mary's College students.
Yeah. And so
and we
Neville
left. Neville was one
ahead of you.
class ahead of me. I know these guys, and when you have known a person for that long, the politics can come in and go out and things so. But when you sit together, you can speak about something that happened in St. Mary's College or that alone begins to unite you again.
Yeah.
And that is something I hope will never die. Never. And that is why people like Neville Sir Neville Snack, stand out and will always continue to stand out, because besides coming from fairly good homes where you were brought up properly, we're all poor. All of us were poor.
Yeah.
But we were brought up properly and righteously to fear God, to honor man, respect your elders. And you know something? It was reinforced at St. Mary's College. So any old St. Mary's College boy or senior St. Mary's College in our generation, we don't get vexed with each other.
Listen.
We will not let politics interfere with us, because the first thing is we are boys together and we grew up together in the same alma mater.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A gentleman of class, Sir Neville, just like yourself, Sir Michael and Mr. Peter. Classy gentlemen. Classy. You gentlemen, you're not going to getting involved with anything. Now, I want to say something. I'm really pleased that we did not touch on the Richard Frederick issue, because I've got so many calls from last Friday, Saturday, the weekend, and said so many things were said about Brother Peter and yourself on the program. And I'm really pleased, and we're laughing about it. I am really pleased that we're not even going to address these things. It doesn't make any sense. You know?
One of these days I'll come and say a prayer for him.
You will, right?
We'll have a separate show on that.
So, we're going to turn on our phone lines here. As always, the numbers are 4560931. If you would like to call us on the WhatsApp number, it is 4850931. We do have our call coming in.
I think the tourist industry
A beautiful morning. Hello?
Yes, good morning, Champagne.
Good morning to you.
God, that program. Good.
Thank you.
So fresh.
Oh, beautiful. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chastanet. Good
Morning.
to you.
Good morning.
How are you all doing?
We're doing all right, thank you.
I can't wait to see you all at Belfort. I noticed the Belfort Road going anytime.
Yes, we're coming down on Sunday, God willing. We'll pass and see you.
Champagne promised to come home and meet me.
Yes. We're coming down.
I will wait for him, God willing.
On Sunday, God willing. We're making that little round.
No problem.
So leave us everything that is good. I hope you have manikou. You love manikou, Brother Peter?
Anything that is properly prepared, you know. I am a seafoods man. Let me say that. I am a seafoods man.
We just joking, fella.
I will have fish before any kind of meat.
We just joking.
But
anything you want to ask? Anything you want to ask, Sir Michael? He just said that his grandfather was born in Sufra in 1837.
I heard that.
1839.
Maybe you are related.
Maybe you never know. You never know.
Never know, Sir Michael. You probably have some family down there.
Yeah. All right then. Well, nice hearing you. Yes.
That's
I'm
a,
happy to hear your voice.
Thank
Take
you.
good care of yourself.
Thank you very much, and have a great day.
yeah, that
All right,
Thank
yes,
you.
The Charles is a Soufre name too,
Yes.
deeply rooted in Soufre. George
1839.
Charles's people are from Soufre.
Yeah. Well, so your roots goes way
His
back.
father, I think, was from
Some
Devon.
people may they're of the view that you're not a St. Lucian. Some
Yeah.
people may think that you're not a St. Lucian. A lot of people have said that, and you are indeed.
But don't
Listen to where
forget,
the roots came
in
from.
those days, in
4560931
in
St.
St.
Lucia.
Lucia in those days, the French and the British did what they wanted.
Yeah.
Or what they wanted to.
Yeah. All right, we have another WhatsApp call coming in. A beautiful morning to you. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you? Let's ring the bell.
That is not ring the bell. That is champagne, and I'm here with Mr. Sir Michael and Mr. Peter.
Yeah, moi, mon akavizo.
Oui.
N'a parlé pas toi.
Allez, nous s'accompagnent.
Oui. Peter Josie et ce Chastanet.
Oui.
Yes, sir.
Moi, j'ai bien parole. Papa m'a trouvé avec ce Chastanet à Kadouvan, mais il va être presque. Mais mettez affaires nous dehors.
Okay.
But I'm very impressed with the way things are going in Soufre.
Okay.
The minister deserves another 5-year term. But I've always been alluding to that. When he entered there, he was a baby. And during these 4.5 years, he has drunk a lot of milk, the nourishing cells.
Okay. I thought it was the sulfur water.
Well, it's part of it. Eh?
Okay.
The people don't understand that the reality of a re-election for Mr. Honorable Edward Chastanet. Okay? This is one politician or district rep in Soufre within 20 years have delivered in 4.5 years. Okay? The whole world is aware of it. And it's on that basis the Soufre people need to re-elect Mr. Chastanet.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
Caller, let
Without
me say something to you. You're from Soufre, I'm not. But one of the things I've been in politics, one of the things that impresses me about a person, whether they are elected or not elected, a politician, is the charisma himself, what he
Yes.
brings to the table. And when I compare Herod Stanislas with this guy who was there before, I see two totally different people.
human
Herod
beings.
is quiet, he's cool, he has an approach to life that is becoming of what I would call a gentleman,
Yes,
or a
sir.
guy who was properly brought up by his parents.
That's right.
When I looked at the other guy, the guy was loud and brash, lying, talking all kind of nonsense.
Yes.
You look at the two of them
Yeah.
and you can see which
Oh, yeah.
one would
Oh,
be
yeah.
a better representative.
Oh, by far.
And I'm not the only one saying that. They experienced people all over the island. And you can compare them from Soufre to Choiseul all around the
All about.
island.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, Mr. Josie.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank
But
you.
the thing is that the opposition will be coming down heavily to attack Mr. Stanislas because this is the seat they want.
Yeah.
All right?
But caller, what can they say? What can they criticize? Because you're from down there. What can they criticize? After all what this young man has done in 4.5 years, what can the SLP criticize? I know they will always find something. They will say fishes live under the moon. But I know for a fact. What would they criticize him about?
Caller, before
Yeah.
you answer that question, here it is, sir. Someone, I was at a certain doctor's office yesterday, Tuesday, okay? And I gave a guy from Soufre a ride into town,
Yeah.
right? And I didn't know him, that was the first time. He had some issues walking, he had a cane, right? And I dropped him at the Soufre bus stop. Whilst we were driving down, he started talking politics. And I asked him what is going to happen to Soufre in his opinion. You know what he told me? Le nou te mande un map pou moute pou Soufou hier. Ça c'est avant Herod, right? Avant moun ki te devant Herod. Dalson. Il nous reporte pas oui pas te vle Jean Soufou hier. Actuellement Jean Josie il pas vle yo rejecter c'est là actuellement il vle venir Soufou hier. Nous pas ka tirer Herod.
Nous pas dit ça là pas toi.
Nous pas qu'à tirer. Nous pas qu'à tirer Herod là. Ça veut dire?
Les MAT voulaient monter l'élection sauf hier. Des maman et papa dit jamais.
Oh, c'est maman et papa qui te dit ça, because moi,
il dit pas, not over my dead body, ou quoi monter l'élection.
Ou ça raison pour ça là, yo pas jamais dit qui ça raison hier.
Maintenant?
Yo pas jamais dit maman et papa pas jamais dit pour qui raison yo pas voulu monter.
Yo pas c'est mon ça c'est gens respectable, yo pas voulu ici entrer en bail. Yo garder politique sans bail.
À quoi ça bail vieux nègre.
So after and then Koyomo, il prend une chance là.
OK.
Mais monter bail souffrir. Ou pas monter bail souffrir en place ou monter gozélé.
Oui.
Ou fait gozélé ou va vivre souffrir.
Oui.
Bon, la nachaille information. Si j'en ai pas aimé pour qui a ce raison elle m'a pris souffrir.
Mais
bonne information, bonne.
La partenaire pièce runoff. Pour souffrir.
Right.
Bon,
est-ce que tu es run-up choisi?
Je te run-up choisi.
Well, ça fait, you ça choisi candidate là.
Et mon nom dit yo ka do Emma. So yo pas taper Emma, so yo que Emma run tout là.
Ah.
Oh, yo ka do Emma l'argent.
Ah non, les bas.
Non, moi ça les bas. Ils sont Emma de travail ba yo que pour payer Emma.
Yo balé site là, yo pas bail drone, yo pas bail parti politique là li.
Mais regardez-moi là, il pas une bouteille noire en pays encore ça. Il pas une bouteille noire en pays encore. Et longtemps UWP peut dit oh yo pas ça qu'a fait actuellement dans la radio, yo dans la télévision, tout le monde attend tous les jours 93.1 FM and 115 on television.
Oui.
So la pas une bouteille noire encore. Ce n'est pas une bouteille noire pour flambeau. Et toi, veille Herod a fait souffouiller. Pièce moun qui n'a conscience qui dit yo c'est gens souffouiller. Pas ça by pièce l'autre moun en vote passer Herod.
Yo ça ça.
OK? Si on a conscience, obligé vote by Herod.
OK quoi
À sous ligne ça là comment qu'a fini là, donc Herod, il n'est pas by Herod. Je souffre n'est pas vieux mais Herod.
Oui.
Mais
moi quand ils sont en cloche là-bas.
Mais c'est ça qui n'est pas.
OK, merci
C'est ça qui n'est pas fait.
Merci Now, you know I want to say something on regarding the Honorable Chastanet class. The only time you're going to hear this man raising his voice is at the House of Parliament. A humble individual, a nice guy. One of the nicest people you could ever meet, I could tell you that. Beautiful morning to you, hello.
Yes, hello. I want to ask Mr. Chastanet if he's any relation to Minville and Chastanet from M&C's.
Yeah, I can answer that. M&C's was owned by my grandfather, Mr. Charles Chastanet, but the important thing is that he had 3 children with a St. Lucian lady, and my father's one of those children. He was not lawful, and the lawful children got married to the DeVoe family, and they inherited Meville and Chastanet. But we, on the Chastanet side, we got absolutely nothing from Meville and Chastanet.
Wow.
My father worked in the government service all his life, and when he retired, he actually took a job with Meville and Chastanet, and he worked for 4 or 5 years managing their hardware and grocery store for them.
Wow.
But that's the only connection.
So that's what you call in the St. Lucian parlance, your father was
Mr. Chastanet,
a bata.
I'm Fritz. My name is Fritz, John Fritz. You know my family well.
John Fritz is his name.
John Fritz.
Yeah, you know my big brothers Frank and Roy and
I went to school with them, yeah.
I know. So I just want to find out, how did the DeVoes get Minville and Chastanet? But I didn't know, like you said, they were, you know.
That's how, yeah. It's one of those things in life, but not a problem. We were born, we had nothing. We were very humble. We were raised in Castries, and the Fritz boys are my friends. And
I know you actually knew my father down in Tugani.
Yeah, when he used to do the when he was in the turtle business, yeah.
Oh,
John,
wow.
John, how are you doing?
He said he already hung up. He said he's going to listen. That's very interesting, Sir Michael.
Yeah.
Because I too, growing up here in Menville and Chastanet with the big building there now.
Yeah, that's right.
And I didn't know you were associated with the family. But now, so Peter said in the Patois term, you were Bata. Your father was.
Correct. Yeah.
When we were born out of wedlock, that was a
That's
crime.
right, I know. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Champagne Bastien again.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Brother Bastien, how are you?
Remember, I'll show you where these labor people are not forgiving people.
Uh-huh.
You remember Mr. Odlum was in the camp, and Mr. Odlum was sick to die,
George.
and none of these people went to see him.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever he did, not even the fuck him to see Mr. Odlum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
While Sir John would go to see Mr. Odlum, sitting on his bed, talking to him.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yeah.
And this hatred business started since the former prime minister came into politics, and this hatred started.
People need to understand that,
Now-
you know, Caller, what you're saying there. Need
Yeah.
to understand that.
Now, the observation I have made, and I'm not going to rejoice over what I'm going to say. Whenever election is
You have to
near,
lower your volume a little, Bastien.
yes, hold on. Whenever election is near,
Thank you.
I'm not going to rejoice. You, Labour, always lose somebody. All right? When I say lose somebody, either they fall sick very bad. Now look what happened to Mr. Norbert. He lose one of his leg. I'm not rejoicing he lose the leg. This is showing you these people do not forgive and they don't forget, you know, all the good things. They always do stupidness. They do bad things. They wish bad things about you. And whenever there is an election, something go wrong in their party.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry for Mr. Nob. There are people that have died in accidents while they were on, going around the island. So many things have happened whenever election with this Labour Party. All right? And there is something wrong with these people. And
Yeah.
Mr. Philip Jopier should reconsider and be a man and use his brains and don't let these people mislead him because it will not be good for him, period, and his party. And he will stay there in the shadow all the time. So my Prime Minister, which I'm very close to, I love this man. I always tell the Prime Minister I love him and I admire what he's doing. And I always pray to God, give him the wisdom and knowledge to do everything good for this country.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Amen.
That's all.
But Bastien,
All right.
Bastien, here is Champagne. You know, it's one of the things that has stuck in my mind is the fact that Dr. Anthony, when he first came in as Prime Minister, stopped the prayers at cabinet. A simple thing like asking God to bless our decision. I was in cabinet, not with him, but, well, he was actually minister at the time of Louise. But we prayed. Every cabinet prayed and said, listen, the Spirit, God, Jesus, whatever, Allah, Jah, whatever you believe in, asking for the power of the Spirit to guide your discussions so that the decisions you take as a collective body, the government, will be in the interest of the people who elected you. The guys stopped that, you know.
Yeah, he
They
did.
stopped prayers, and today they want to criticize Sarah.
Yeah. Thanks for holding, Caller. Good morning.
Gentlemen, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Champagne,
Oui.
je forgot to ask Karen about Neville Stackler.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Peter Josie là, il parlait avec nous, comprendre teasing, nous pas comprendre tout to the end.
Il peut-être pas dit un chat because nous pas dit un chat.
Pour nous prendre par la botte, pour nous mettre disquette to rest.
Oui.
La guy should have most American declare, I know all.
So, c'est pour venir, Caller, c'est pour monter ici. C'est pour monter venir parler avec le radio.
No. When on board, that American clean. Même si M. Josie dit là, moi, tout. L'année bas, M. Josie peut connaître passer. L'année bas, moi-même peut connaître passer lui-même tout.
Caller, moi, tu nous dis, moi, je là bon matin. Mais où ça fait? À quoi dit pour moi, c'est juste quitter ces bails, ça abat misère. Because, bon Dieu, ça a aidé nous. Bon Dieu, ça a aidé M. Chandel Moll. Regardez côté hier aujourd'hui. That is why the prayer I read a while ago, they say that Jesus takes us from where we are and puts us where he wants us to be. You heard when I said that.
Yes,
These are not my words. These are not my words. I read them. Okay?
Yeah, but history is important. Huh?
Yeah.
I don't group of it because I want by the very of so much wish, but they are clear because you can't get a go a black sheep and why not a black sheep.
Kawuj, moi pas mettre nous kay venir parler pour et moi kay faire ça. Merci, belle power.
We must come with a tape recorder
okay, partner.
and
beautiful.
Maybe do a video.
A beautiful morning to you. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Champagne.
Good morning, sir.
I'm calling. Yeah, you know exactly who that is.
You're calling from the UK.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Good morning to you.
I wanted to speak to Mr. Josie and Mr. Michael Allen Chastanet.
That's right.
Go ahead. That's what I have to say.
Go right ahead.
What I have to say, I just want to ask them a question about Mr. Healy. And I want to know why Mr. Healy is still running as a MP after all what he has done about the Jeep, about whatever. And I know in the UK, it could be anywhere in the world, whenever a man at court with the government, the man not entitled.
Are you breaking up, caller? We there?
No. Oh, yeah. Whenever a man, Champagne, you can hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Champagne, can you hear me?
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Champagne, what I was saying, I want to ask Mr. Michael. I can't hear nothing.
No, go ahead, Nukatano.
Caller.
Boy, he's left us.
He's left?
Apparently, he was asking the question.
Caller, let me answer that question on behalf of myself and Mr. Sir Michael Chastanet.
He's calling back. Let's see if we could get him. Hello, good morning. Oh, he broke up again.
Let me answer on behalf of myself and Sir Michael Chastanet. The matter you speak about is in the courts now, and I don't think it would be proper for us to comment on it. But I understand what you're trying to say. Okay?
A beautiful morning to you. Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning.
Okay, what I want to talk about, because I did talk about it earlier on with Butai. The thing everybody is making a big issue with talking about, Mr. Snack and the work. There's nothing much in that thing. I was with Hunt all the time. When these things happen, Hunt didn't even know it was going to happen. He had his dialogue. He had his things with John Compton. They talk about it. Even the Sunday, he came to Grosley, right, and said that he knows nothing about it. This is politics. That thing, 34 years, but that thing's supposed to go on rest. Everybody wants to go and believe there was so much of a secret in that, or this and that and the other. Whatever secret that he had, he probably had with John Compton. John Compton is no longer there to answer his name.
Caller, the only people that are making an issue with it is the Labour Party, and we could see clearly every time there's a sitting and the Governor General maybe is making an appearance or a speech, they walk out of the house. They're the only ones that are still making an issue with it 34 years later.
Yeah, but that is the reason why I listened to Mr. Josie and said, just put that thing at rest. There's no history behind that. What history they have there? Hunt spent all his money for the Labour Party. They kick him out. So why they don't come out and talk about that history?
I mentioned it this morning, caller. When I called Norbert.
What they say.
I called Norbert.
Number one man at that time.
I called Norbert and mentioned it, and I was actually.
For the Labour Party to hold that thing, going in the house, disrespecting every time like that. But Brother Josie, you know what happened? Sorry to say that thing was created from the time you was part of it in the days of George Odlum, and that thing have never gone away from the Labour Party. Although you trying to put sense into their head to tell them that no longer existed, and they're still doing it.
So let me ask you something, caller. Let me ask you something, and maybe Brother Peter could respond to it as well. Why do they keep hating on that, the Labour Party?
Hating on what?
Why do they keep remembering and hating Sir Neville Snack for what happened 34 years ago?
But they have nothing to play on, my brother. If you have nothing to play on...
That is the point, caller. That is the point.
You know, and then that's what you have. Because when a man is running, he sees a straw. He believes that straw will be able to...
Did you have when I spoke to Norbert this morning, I told Norbert, Julian and I started before politics. We played cricket for Notre Dame cricket team at Mindo Phillip Park, or Victoria Park as it was in those days. And in 2018, I think, Julian actually wrote me a note, had his secretary call me, invited myself and Dr. Vaughan Lewis to lunch with him. And I went. Vaughan said he had forgotten. The thing about it is that this is a long time ago, and we have to be civil. In the 34 years, okay, how much of a man's lesson, caller, without cutting, you know what is interesting? I don't even think that Julian's attitude towards Chanel Mall, towards the governor.
Exactly.
But more than that, I don't think any of the other guys today, none of them today, were a part of the member of the House at the time.
Exactly.
None of them were there.
So why are they still...
The only person that was there was Philip J.P.
You think so, caller?
But you don't tell me that because Philip J.P. started with Horn.
Okay.
We all used to be at Horn House.
In 1987.
Biscuit and corned beef KFC.
Okay.
Oh yes, I think Philip was elected
KFC.
because by that time I was representing Beaufort South.
Yes.
You're right. Yes.
Yes. Okay, but he only contested in 92.
Yeah.
All right, caller. Anything else? We have some more calls coming in.
No, that's okay. But we keep on going and they're making a big issue.
Okay.
So there is more to talk about. There is this to talk about. Prolonging that thing. Let's move on.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, caller.
Just about 18 years gonna vote now. They don't even care about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
Beautiful.
all right.
Okay.
All right. You know, history is history. So John had history, and people often talk about what transpired in the Mabuya
Well,
Valley.
people will talk about it whether we want to or not.
Exactly. Anyway, let's do a call. A beautiful morning to you. Hello.
Hey, Champagne and Peter.
Yes, sir.
It is not that
We have Sir Michael here as well, huh, caller?
Sir Michael. It is not that I don't love you. I just can't take it anymore, baby.
You said that just like my friend, man, Chandelissimo.
Yes, man.
George called him that, George Odom called Chandelissimo.
you know the thing about it is that the Labour Party is idiotic.
Okay.
The opposition leader is idiotic.
Mm-hmm.
The Governor General represents the Queen.
Yeah.
The motion was moved in the House yesterday. Who seconded the motion?
Yeah, the leader of the opposition.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So you second the motion, so why should you walk out?
But you know how they refer to the opposition in the British Parliament and even in our system, because we have copied, or it was handed down to us. Her Majesty's loyal opposition. Mm-hmm. That is how the opposition is referred to in formal circles, caller.
Yes.
Her Majesty's loyal opposition.
Now tell me, what's going to happen? Let us say by chance, by some miracle, the Labour Party wins the elections.
Mm-hmm.
Who would swear them in?
We asked about that earlier.
We asked about that earlier.
Oh, you did that earlier?
Yeah.
So it is just a very idiotic thing. Or they're trying to make the younger people.
That's what I don't think it's idiotic. I think it's to mama guide the younger voters who don't know better.
That's right.
But caller, and Brother Peter answered it quite right. He said that the Governor General would still have to swear the Prime Minister in, right?
Yeah, he can't refuse. He can't. I don't think he can refuse.
Now, Brother Peter also said these guys are so shameless that they wouldn't care less if it is Mr. Neville Snack or if it is Champagne.
Well, they don't even care if they have to bring back Bram or Donkey, to come and tell them.
Exactly.
Trust me,
Exactly. These guys.
I don't understand. I don't understand the Labour Party up to now. There was a Labour Party before, a few years ago, and there were smart people. Mm-hmm. But these guys, I don't know what those guys are trying.
But caller, let us get into an academic discussion now about that, the elections. Suppose, as you said, God forbid that the opposition were to win. The Governor General feeling not too well. He's not well at all. He's sick. So he can't swear them in when they want to be sworn in. But there's no acting Governor General. And even though there was, Who is to elect or appoint an acting governor general? I guess it's the outgoing prime minister, because he would be officially prime minister still.
Yep.
Even the house has been dissolved. That is an interesting.
Would it be the prime minister or the president of the Senate doing that?
That's very interesting. We must look at. I must look at my
also because of the way these guys behave.
I must look at the constitution.
We have to start looking at those things.
Yeah, because we can arrive at an impasse there, boy. We don't know whether we're coming or going.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, very interesting. And you didn't say the governor general is sick, because we know how they spin things. You're saying just in case at that time, if he happens to be sick.
I'm saying we are going to have an academic discussion.
Right. That's right. I remember you said, no, I'm only saying this outside for our listeners, because you know how they spin a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is something really and truly the government have to look for, the United Workers' Party have to look at when they come back in next time around, because with the kind of desperation, Labour Party seems to be getting desperate more and more and more and more. Like they are the only set of people who must be in government.
Well, Kola, you realize, you recognize that they have run out of issues. They have run out of things. They don't even know what they're talking about. I saw a parliamentarian talking about the Prime Minister being on a radio program. Can you believe this?
No, but when a guy talking about he don't know the price in supermarkets, or he do stop eat bread, he
ran out of issues.
And all that kind of nonsense. I mean, and some people talking about who is paying for all those photos the Prime Minister taking.
Can you believe this?
And all they're trying to do the
Can you believe this?
This is to distract people from the real issue the opposition should be talking about. Are they going to continue the thrust at Uwanora Airport and continue to build up the tourism industry?
They cannot talk about that because they've criticized it too much.
Are they going to continue the infrastructure, the road infrastructure, the water infrastructure at Vieux Fort? How can you develop a country without clean, potable drinking water?
Peter, this government have done so much, and they have criticized. The thing about it, these guys have never gave the government praise for
nothing. This is the way they are.
Right, they have criticized.
But if the former Prime Minister refused to shake the present Prime Minister's hands in Parliament, what is lower than that? What is lower than that, man?
Well, he did Stephenson King the same thing when he was Prime Minister.
Déclassé, man, déclassé. That don't mean a thing. That don't mean a thing. And that goes back to the genes.
The question that all voters must put towards the opposition now is, will you continue what this government have started? Because things seem to be ripe and look like that blueprint our Prime Minister have is going to really change St. Lucia.
Of course. Of course.
But caller, they can see that. They can see that.
Right.
And you know, the thing is, this bad bananas, not bad manners, this bad bananas, when a prime minister, a former prime minister, or let me put it the way I was going to put it, when a prime minister offers you his hand, there's no COVID at the time, there's no disease that the man can pass on to you. In the House of Assembly, in the Parliament, you are a former prime minister.
Yeah,
people are watching you. What kind of example is this, man?
You have to show a statesman, especially when you look at the prime minister's father. He helped you so much. You made him an ambassador. He was in charge of he was a government nominee on the bank, the government bank. He was chairman of the bank.
Well, caller, we had
all these things. You even gave him an award.
We had someone calling a few weeks ago, and the caller was reminding Sir Michael that he had borrowed the former Prime Minister money to pay salary, and Sir Michael refused to respond to that.
He lent him. But
right not to respond.
Listen to that caller. When the former Prime Minister was in the Parliament for the first time, and there was the House of Assembly meeting, that guy had spent time in England. He had done a PhD in the law. I took one look at his neck and the tie and all his coat and everything. And either he didn't have somebody to guide him, and I knew right away, that is a barefooted that never went to school with tie and things so on. I said, oh Lord, that's a PhD in law. Gason, let me wear my name, me say, Pavat, me say, a cole, me say, te ye. Let me the T-boy, high mass for boys. That's St. Mary's College. and you had to go properly dressed with your tie and your blazer.
Yeah.
You couldn't go with your tie looking crooked and
And to end it,
you come in as prime minister with a big PhD,
and to end it, you must have taken the smell of all the mothballs.
and you know, you have so many of your parliamentarians around you, so many supporters. Nobody can say to you, listen, let me fix this for you. Let me, you know, as Norbert likes to do with his bow tie. Norbert is always adjusting his bow tie. It comes from habit.
You know the good thing about Norbert, what I like about Norbert, Norbert, everything is so dramatic and good, man.
Yes, you have to think that way.
And like Norbert is always fixing his bow tie. He knows the value of having the bow tie properly done,
You have to do that.
You in the public forum, man.
You have
Come
to do
on.
that. Caller, before you leave, and I know you've been involved with the politics for decades, and based on what you've seen with all of our developments, and coming into the next term with this administration, I could say I'm seeing St. Lucia not yet as a first world, but we are going to be in the second class if there's such a thing. What do you think?
Boy, we're going to be with what's going on there. We're going to be in the first class.
In the first class? Okay, all right.
Alan is aiming for St. Lucia to be in the first.
Amen to that.
Aiming for St. Lucia to be.
Amen to that.
Our only difficulty I see, and that is something that can be cured, is we have to pull everybody with us.
That's right.
I think it's important
as
to
you know,
pull.
the only way you could, and to tell you the truth, there are still a few little things the government must do.
Yes.
But I heard a Labour Party show, and they said that the United Workers Party have 9 shore seats.
Well, that's the government, Caller.
Our government have 9 shore seats.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's the government.
The Party have 9 shore seats. And then they asked them how much does the Labour Party have.
They can't answer.
No, they said 3.
Okay.
When they said the 3, they said, what about the other 5? They said, well, it's a toss-up.
It's a toss-up?
But they already, it's from Labour Party, but they've already given...
Keep dreaming. Let them keep dreaming,
Caller. Based on that analogy, they have lost the election.
They have lost the election.
Because 9 seats would get you into government.
That's right. But all we have to do now
is to get the other 8.
Is even work harder to try to get every seat in that election.
Get the other 8, yes. To get the other 8. Yes. And I'm working hard on that myself. And so Michael is.
Solution would be better off with a smarter opposition.
Let me tell you what the government and the government party should do. Just keep doing what they are doing now. And the place has improved. St. Lucia has improved considerably by the establishment of this radio station, and the thing that is showing, our interview here with Champagne, our discussion is also showing on 115. That is something the UWP never had before.
Yep.
So John always used to say, and I know you know that, Caller, that my work will speak for me.
Yeah.
Now with the internet and with people broadcasting all kind of lies all over the place, they taking pictures, they putting your face on a different body that's not yours, all kinds of disinformation. We cannot trust that. So now with that radio station and with the television support, I believe St. Lucians will hear the truth, and we, the government now, must just keep on working the way they are working.
Yeah,
don't slow down, don't stop. Just keep working and let your work be advertised by the people who support you.
They have a little more to do. Film that 12 o'clock. They have a little more to do, which I'm not going to say here.
Yeah.
But I will end and say and just bring you all back. Come Dala with Willie.
Say it again.
Come Dala with Willie. You remember that? Dilly Dala with Willie.
Dilly Dally.
Yes.
Dilly Dally.
Yes.
Yeah, with Willie.
Yes.
Dilly Dally with Willie.
Let's go back. Yeah.
That's right.
But we will make it. We will be there.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot,
Good
Caller.
afternoon.
All right. Beautiful. Wow. We are gone past the 12 o'clock hour. I know my 2 gentlemen. They're going to give me some extra time today. We're doing some more calls. A beautiful afternoon to you. Hello.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
Listen.
Thank you.
Those guys have no vision. There's no plan. Hence the reason the blind is leading the blind. And I only have one more thing to say. You pay.
Yo pay. Thank you to pay. Thanks a lot, caller. Thank you very much. Okay, so I've got an indication that we do 2 more calls, and Lucia, because you know the 2 gentlemen have. So 2 more calls, and it's going to be a toss-up. So, Michael, I wanted to go back to the airport. Okay, this is one of our 2 more calls. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Gentlemen.
Yes.
Hi, good
I'll
afternoon.
be very brief.
Yes.
Today. I have so far checked 15, so I don't know where the fella got 9.
Okay, all right.
That's all I have to say to
You have 15 sure?
Yeah.
And the other 2, how you have it? A toss-up or 15?
No, because we are working hard on the free of the South.
Mm-hmm.
That's the free I have outstanding.
Now, caller, let me engage you. You're not just saying you have 15 choices. On what basis do you think that you have 15?
Because I am sure we'll get Castries South and Castries East.
No. I was asking you on what basis, meaning what you have seen the government do, the works the government have done.
Or your own survey.
I have said that on Newsspin. I've said that to you
Yes.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I have said that's the only government I have known that have worked on each and every constituency.
Yes, generally.
Generally. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it.
There's no doubt.
We are even working on the opposition constituency.
That's right.
So therefore, I am just saying these are the free seats that I think is the hardest. I think Philip J. Pierre has failed himself as a leader.
Yeah, he's come to the end of the road.
Yeah. And the other one, Ernest Hilaire.
You know, caller, sorry, I believe that Castries South seat is the first seat that is going to be called for the United Workers' Party, and I'll tell you why. How could the people of Castries South, with all this controversy that has circulated this man, how could you get up from your bed at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, take a line, and go to vote in one of the polling stations in Castries South and say you're going to vote for Ernest Hilaire? With all what has circulated this guy, I don't see how it's possible.
Plus the statement of disgrace that he made
In Dominica.
In Dominica.
Amen to that.
We have to highlight that every opportunity.
Every time.
You heard Philip. You all were busy. Philip J. Pierre this morning in his presentation, he spoke about 2 people with legal shops in Marchand. They are closed. And
He said that?
Listen to what made he say.
My goodness. And as a result of what those shops are closed, did he say anything? Did he specify?
Only say he called the names. I was even vexed.
This man has
What did he say, Sean?
He said that Phillips.
I'm there listening because I'm listening to you all at the same time.
My goodness. This man has no shame.
Talking about 2 little shops in Masha. You say the people in these hard times, they had to close their shop. That's what you have to come and say.
But caller, let me say something. Let me say something to you. I want you to bear in mind. The Francis boys, Hermangill, Claudius, and Peterson, they all grew up with their sisters, of course, opposite the market steps. When in the 70s, George Odlum and I were holding the fort as often as we could. And all 3 boys will tell you, including one of the girls whom I know, that they learned a lot and they understood the politics. If Hermangill Francis were to get the energy that I believe he saw generated by Odlum, myself, John, Mikey Pilgrim, Francis Michel, and that lot on the market steps in those days, and he can summon half of that energy on behalf of the people of Beaufort South, my money will be on him. Today is the 17th of March, 2021. And I will not repeat that, but remember I said so, okay?
Okay, I'm also saying that we'll take all 6.
Yeah.
But I'm saying these are the 3 we have to work.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
All right.
I agree.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Billy. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
You just mentioned the name there, Frances Michel. I remember that name growing up as a young man. What about this lady?
She passed,
How long ago? A long time ago?
Yeah, sometime.
Oh, I realized I didn't hear in a little while. A special good afternoon to you. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to speak to Champagne, please.
Well, I am here, but I cannot go off air. If you'd like to speak to me now, we're live.
I can give you my number. You call me.
Yes, please do that because I cannot go off now.
Yes, 454 4153.
What is it?
454 4153.
Thank you very much. All right, beautiful. All right, great. All right, so that was our last call. Okay, we're going to do just the last one before I get into trouble. And you are our final call for the afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Hello?
Good afternoon, Sky FM.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Michael and Mr. Josie.
Hi, good afternoon.
Thank you.
Moi, je suis en la bouille.
Oui.
Mais moi, je half of c'est fait ma boa pas qu'à monter traîner because mon qui a monté à ma pas que c'est mon nous d'accord ça. Bonjour.
Okay, merci. All right. She's saying that there's, and I've been hearing about that, but that is for the executive of the party to discuss. All right.
Whom they do?
Well,
they mention a name.
The gentleman has already been endorsed, but there's some fracas between the people down there.
Are they mentioning a name?
They are mentioning a name, but okay. We have two calls coming. Can we do one?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, do
Take
one.
Okay, beautiful. Special good afternoon to you. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Champagne.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Statesman, Sir Peter Josie, Sir Michael Chastanet.
Good afternoon, my brother, Mr. Bermuda.
You almost didn't make it this today.
By the time I just hop onto the train. I just hop on the train for the last car.
Okay. The last car.
Gentlemen, Mr. Josie.
Yes, sir.
Form is temporary, class is permanent.
Yeah.
Because the bank can only battle the wicket when the wicket good.
Yeah.
When the ball is swinging and the ball dark and the wrong, they ain't got a clue. That's our Prime Minister, our great Prime Minister, Sir Alan Michael Chastanet. He can battle any wicket. He's a class player. He's a prime lara. That's what I'm talking about. No. Let me continue. I heard, listen, they're talking about the great man going for a talk show. Our Prime Minister, this great Prime Minister, walks in on any talk show he goes on. He has killed none of them, and he faced them head on. Anybody. Tell me the last day that Philadelphia or Kenny Anthony or any of those pitbulls ever went to a real journalist to have an interview.
Macaulay, you know something? The Prime Minister, one of the things they tried to tell us when he was just sworn in, when he just won, was that he was slow, he couldn't speak properly, that kind of thing. But you know, the man carries himself and speaks so well. I am worried. If I was a Labour Party person, I would have been very worried. Did you see the presentation of the budget yesterday?
That man is something else. That man is special. That man is special.
I am surprised to see how fluent and how familiar the man is with his subject. Even though I know that he did econ, he worked for some top people in Washington connected to the Caribbean. But Alan Chastanet, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet, is so professional in his presentation of budget or when he addresses the nation that this guy is already world class. He is in the first world already. And he has to pull the rest of St. Lucia with him. So the guy who called Champagne a while ago, talking about first class,
right?
Alan is already there.
Already first class.
So he can pull everybody.
So there's no second class. It's first.
Yes.
All right. Beautiful.
Yes, sir.
You know what the Belgians tell me?
No.
The Belgians tell me, big boys in Barbados tell me, that man Alan Chastanet, you can look at that man, you can see that man, he looks the part. He looks the part. That man's a Prime Minister, man.
Yeah. And you see, he fits into the average Belgian intellectual, political understanding of what ought to be done. He carries himself in the eyes of the Barbadian as a prime minister. And that is the point. He will be greatly appreciated in Barbados. And when he meets with Miss Mia Motley, they speak as two equals. And I'm sure Mia has great respect for him. So does the Prime Minister of Trinidad. And I know he's very close to the Prime Minister Holness of Jamaica. These people have a lot, and these are the 3 leading islands. I'm not talking about Guyana now, of the Caribbean in terms of population, development, and everything. And these people, the 3 leaders of Trinidad, Barbados, and Jamaica, embrace Allen as one of their equals, and that is important, very important.
Yeah. All right, caller.
So hold on, champion.
I give you 2 more minutes.
All right, so I don't want to. Another thing is this here. Kenyan didn't listen to our feedback. Did he go to a radio station?
No, he did not.
Did he go to a radio station?
No, he did not. That's
Thank
right.
you very much.
All right.
All right. Thing. When the SFP is in opposition, they always talk about give the people the money, give the people the money. When they're in power,
they keep it to themselves.
You know what they say? 0% first year,
That's
0%
right.
second year, 0%
They keep it to
third
themselves.
year.
It's true.
One way. Banana Darling Road. You don't know what to do. Don't let them fool you all. They continue to fool you all, my boys. Don't let them fool you all anymore. They never ask. They never give you money when they're in power. And they try to fool you all the time.
I see you're not calling Marsha and Fuasha, you're only calling Conway.
Yeah, that's why it's from
I
Banana.
know, that's where, okay.
I'm telling you, my boys, okay? This is my Mr. Josie, Mr. Josie.
I know. I'm just pulling your legs. Just pulling your legs.
That's my people. Let me deal with my people first, then I deal with anybody else after. Home drum beats first.
These are your pips.
My pips, that's what I'm talking about. So Michael.
Yeah, he could have. He's calling you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Mr. Bermuda, go ahead.
I can't stop you. I cannot thank you enough for giving us the greatest prime minister on the planet. There's nobody on the planet that could touch this man. St. Lucia is just too small for him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
thanks a lot, my friend.
Thanks very much. You have a good afternoon.
All right, and a good afternoon to you, boy.
All right, bye.
Hello? Okay. Yes.
Right, okay, St. Lucia.
Yeah, so
again, just to close off, it was wonderful to be here today. I trust that the information provided highlighted the success of St. Lucia and where we're going to in the next couple of months. And I personally am looking forward to all those situations to actually come to fruition so that we can return to you next week and to confirm what I've said is actual factor.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for being here, and
you're welcome.
Look forward to next week.
I make
Thank
the
you.
sacrifice every Wednesday to sacrifice my editing of my own writing to come here because I want to and because I think the discussion is good for St. Lucia.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah.
So I'm going home, settle down, have something to eat, and then I will start writing and editing again.
Yes. I do have 2 calls coming in, but callers, my apologies. You know, these 2 gentlemen.
You answer them.
I have not.
You answer them on our behalf.
And unfortunately, St. Lucia, my 2 gentlemen. Gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much once again for joining in. Yes, thank you very much. Every Wednesday in the persons of Sir Michael and Peter Josie. And St. Lucia, we're looking forward to having our 2 statesmen again next Wednesday, God willing, to be in studio with us. There's so many things that we wanted to discuss, and I'm really pleased that they did not go down the way with Mr. Frederick and Mr. Christopher and nobody. And this is what we do. We do not go into a back and forth. We bring positivity to all of our people, development. This is what we're about. So thank you once again, gentlemen, and we hope to see you next Wednesday at about 9:30. We'll be in touch, and that's for Sunday. Yes. Yeah. All right, so St. Lucia, thank you once again, and thank you, our partner, GVD TV, channel 115, always to bring us our live broadcast. And they will be airing this program tomorrow as a rebroadcast tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Until next Wednesday, St. Lucia, you have a great afternoon, and the program will be continuing with Just Me Champagne. Hello, good afternoon.
Everybody ready? All on board! Oh, how we miss the good old days. The rallies, the flags, your outfits, and connecting with you in person. COVID is a new reality, but the show must go on. On Sunday, March 21st, we kick off the first in a series of live virtual meetings. Meet your new candidates and listen to your trusted MPs as we take you on a recap of the past 5 years and set the master plan for the continued progress and development of our St. Lucia.
Sunday, March 21st, 7 p.m. live on TBS Television, Hot 7 TV, GTV TV, Facebook, and YouTube. The United Workers' Party. Let's keep working.
Everybody hopping up on the Flamo train. Everybody hop.
My mother sent us back. It was out of his breakfast to give us something. Still with it.
Things were very difficult with my parents, and my mother opened a small bakery in the Castries area.
Because my father do everything he could do for me, not for himself, for me, personal. And from there, when I see my mom from there yesterday, and I just remember my mother and my father every day, how they take it so hard to bring us up. And I seen from today there, I actually disabled children from mother. The mother asks for freedom, and they don't want that freedom, you know.
People-centered, community-focused, building economic empowerment and resilience in our constituencies. Let's talk. Let us discuss. Constituency Vibes with me, your host, Ricky Alexander, every Wednesday on Sky FM 93.1 from 8 p.m.